Good evening. Go ahead and call this work session to order. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilwoman Jackson, if you'd be so kind to give us a little introduction.
If you bow your heads, dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this day, Lord, thanking you for your many blessings. Lord, thanking you for another opportunity to serve in this great city in this capacity. Lord God, we don't take it kindly. We don't take it for granted, Lord, that you've allowed us to be here today. Lord God, we ask that you bind us together in unity. Let your spirit and yours alone flow today. We say, Holy Spirit, have your way. Saturate the atmosphere. Let it be conducive for your work and yours alone. Work in us and through us to accomplish your will, Lord God. We decrease, Lord God. We yield our members to you, Father. Let the preeminence of your power and your glory shine through us today. That everything that we say may be decent and in order. That it may follow after your will. And we'll always give your name the praise and the glory that is due. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilwoman Jackson. No citizens request tonight. Straight to the mayor's report.
Good evening, council members.
Good evening.
Oh, you can Councilman Benjamin. I have 11 items on the agenda, but it won't take that long to do all that.
Thank you for bringing it to the work session. That's what it's for. That's what it's for.
Making sure that you
To work it out.
What you would see first on your agenda, we have for the mayor's report is the Jubilee vendors. I'm not sure if that has been put forward to you, Mr. President. I know some things you request. I wasn't sure if all that came to you.
It is.
Okay.
I will forward a copy to the council.
Okay. So the amount, just all the other information you have before, but the amount was like $4,050. Yes, in vendor fees that we received this year for the Jubilee event. The second thing with the financial statement.
Did that include vendors outside of the Jubilee jurisdiction? Did that include all these other pop-up vendors?
Now, the pop-up vendors that we had, Mr. Van Dyer, Mr. Police Officer, and
Robin Walker.
yeah, we tried to shut down as many as possible we can with the manpower we had. Some people did, those who had businesses in those locations, we were able to get vendor fees from some of those. But those that popped up, we got to as many as we possibly could to try to close down.
So in this $4,000, some of that includes the pop-up vendors that were outside of the Jubilee.
Right, but the bulk of it is from the Jubilee.
Most of it is from the Jubilee.
Yes, the
Okay.
bulk of it is.
Also, too, Councilwoman, I will forward you the email that I request from the mayor's office about the vendors and also the business license. But we're gonna look at having a finance committee meeting on Monday, and I think we probably need to go up on the vendors fees if we start. But we'll talk about it on Monday, about 125, something like that.
Especially events.
Especially when stuff like that. But we have a finance committee meeting on Monday. We're gonna discuss all that.
I just wanted to remind you that the recommendation from the committee was that effective this year that we would go, that the fees would go up to 100. So 125 is fine, but we stated that we were gonna, that was one of the things that we were gonna do this year.
Okay.
And since you're having a financial committee meeting on Monday at 5 o'clock, I'm gonna try my best to make it back at 5. I have another engagement with the federal agency, but I'll try to make sure I'm back by 5. Now I have someone up here to take notes until I get here. The financial statements, which was sent to you, emailed to you today, we're also in the process of opening up our open data source. Some of the information is out there, but we're yet building information, so hopefully we'll have all that out before this month is out. So we'll be on a continual basis. You will be able to go online to see all the financials of the city. I did include a one-pager in there that Ms. Oliver has been doing for us for quite some time now to give you the financial status as an overview of where we are when it comes to accounts payable, invoices, purchase orders which have not been processed, the weekly payroll, bi-weekly payroll, and monthly payroll. And as you can see, the total expenses that are due by the end of this month is $943.28. Well, $943,028.21. Anticipated revenue by the end of this month is $1.6 million. That's anticipated revenue. So basically what you see is that we are actually at a partial where we're still doing month to month We're trying to make sure we can pay bills and make payroll. And I'm sure we can take that up in the financial committee meeting. Also in the financial committee meeting, I think something that we may want to address is the business licenses. Ms. Lewis, think that we're at 97% capacity in those who would normally pay, and the budget projected 3.5 million, we're at 2.4 million. So that's $1 million shortfall that we're looking at.
Okay, with the list that was submitted to me,
The delinquent list, she said usually what you see on that list, now when she was out today, that's why she's not here. She said many of those businesses are businesses that are no longer operational, but take a while for the system to delete them off. So she's looking at probably most that we may get on top of that is like another $100,000 at the maximum.
highlight this down.
Yeah, we'll make sure she at the finance committee meeting so she can explain that more to us. But I think it's important that we look at that because, of course, we may have to move quickly to amend the budget. If we offer $1 million when it comes to the business license projection.
Mr. President, would you please send me that list, because I don't want to be a rumor to come to me that the businesses that I've heard have not paid their business license, have not paid. I don't want to be speaking off of a rumor. So
Right.
I would like you to forward that list to me, because I just know what the list that I heard is not true.
Correct.
I just know these people have paid their business
Right, and
license.
that's why it's good,
because
Ms.
they talk
Lewis.
too much about it.
Cross-reference, because matter of fact, I know it was about 1 or 2 today that was on that list, and I just basically just whispered it to them, so they came in today.
Well, I will tell you, and Ms. Lewis can explain best to you as our expertise, but what I will tell you is that insurance licenses, they usually come in after our business licenses, and she thinks some of those are yet to come in. They're like a week after the due date. Insurance companies, and so she will have to give you that when she meet on Monday, or we try to get it to you before Monday when she comes back to work. She was out today on the sick day, so we'll get that information back to you. But she doesn't expect more than between $100,000 to $150,000 to come in, and so when we look at the budget projection was 3.5 million. And we're looking at 2.5 million that's actually we have on hand and that we're expected to have for the remainder of the year. And so we would definitely look at maybe amending the budget because revenues was accounted for to cover expenses inside the budget.
So is there
It's 20 pages.
That's fine.
Yes.
Whatever
There's like 800
page,
something.
start sending to me. So are we saying that the $1 million difference is just off, or are we saying that businesses, $1 million worth of businesses are no longer exist?
The projections were way off. If you go back to 2015, and I'm calling these numbers off the top of my head, I think Miss Oliver, you have the numbers for me? Based off trend, 2015, I think it was $2.8 million.
2.8?
Yes, 2.8. 2016 was 2.8. 2017 was 2.6.
Okay.
2018 was 2.8. And so right now we're at 2.4, as Ms. Lewis was expecting another 100 to 150,000 coming in. So that would put us roughly at the 2.6, 2.7. And so trend would be around the same amount. But in the budget was projected 3.5. I'm not sure why that projection was so grossly over what we have normally done in time past.
Yeah.
I've seen in previous budgets where it had been projected for $3 million and we got to 2.8, so it was comfortable, close to it, but these numbers are all roughly between $800,000 to $1 million, $800,000 to $1 million.
Now, most of them ones I've seen, about 2.2 million business license.
Right, but in the budget, look at the budget, projection was $3.5 million.
This one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Jackson.
Mayor, you know, last year we ran into a business saying that he never did get his license, and I think
Right.
do we have anyone to follow up with the business to see if they're out of business, have they received it? Because this gentleman said that, I think it was almost 5 months later, he claimed he didn't, we sent him a bill, but he found it, took care of it, but if we have someone to follow up with the business, see if they still open or not.
So business licenses are due once a year, on
Right.
a certain day, I think that.
January 31st.
Right, 31st. So businesses have until that date to pay it.
Correct.
And so, yes, in the tax collector department, we have someone who's assigned who goes to check these licenses, but they're not they're not late until after January 31st. So when people say, well, these people don't have their licenses, that's farthest from the truth. You can't say they're late until after a certain date.
That's right.
So yes, we start checking, verifying the issue with the gentleman you're referring to. I just think he didn't submit his business licenses, but he was just being difficult with us at the time. But in many instances, yes, they are checking. Now, what happens is sometimes you have businesses that have more than one business license. Service stations, for instance, they may have different licenses for different things. And so that's one of the issues that sometimes we have to verify to make sure they have all those up to date. But in many cases, it's not that most of the business is not paying their licenses.
With the, Jackson, with the meeting for the last several years, about 2.5 for business license. And how did the balloon go?
Well, the budget, I'm at the budget was, I'm not sure who did the projection for the budget. It was 3.5 in the budget that was given to us, so I'm not sure. You have a copy of the budget?
Can I borrow?
Here, you borrowed.
Yes, yes,
You
but I
gonna
don't want
give
to
it
keep
back?
paper. Trust me.
A lot of paper, right?
Save a tree.
Is the revenues in that one? Revenues in that, okay.
It's in it.
Councilwoman Jackson.
Okay, Mayor, the first thing that I want to ask you about is the purchase order reports, and I see that we have $137,492.43 that have not been purchased. If you recall, when we met the Friday before last, we discussed bringing those before the council so we can see exactly what we're purchasing in that $137,000. Is that just for this month? Are we caught up? This is not any past due. This is just the things that we ordered in February, March, or just March, or where are we?
What is it? She asking, is that old or is that?
It's the purchase orders that have been entered for service that hadn't been processed. So it's been encumbered.
Right, but what is the date? Is it from, are these from December? Are these from February? Are these,
Well, it's a cumulative total. It could very well be because once the department gets the purchase order, say if they do a purchase order and they did it in December, then it goes through the system. So it could be for, I don't think they're Decembers, I think they're probably, what month we're in, February, March probably.
February, March.
Maybe some late January, maybe. And yeah, because we're just getting into March, we hadn't had a check run for March.
okay. So are we gonna still put that in process?
Well, I spoke with the president about it, and he said it was something that we were gonna take up in the financial committee about bringing POs before you also.
Finance committee.
Okay, because.
On Monday.
Okay, but you know that we voted on the October 23rd meeting, and I brought a copy of those meeting minutes with me, that we were going to do this, and finally, we're in a position that we can. And I'd just like to know, any purchases, before any purchases, they're supposed to come before the council. Do we all agree that that's the process?
What is the
Before purchases are made, they're supposed to come before the council. If you recall, we said no purchases are to be made.
Yeah, I recall that, but I also sent you a message that
I
I'd
saw
like to
you.
talk to you about because I agree with that message halfway and halfway I do not agree with that. So since we are having a meeting on Monday, that'll give me time to get your thoughts on that because I want your thoughts on that before I voice the rest of what I feel about the first part of what I sent, not the second part.
Okay, and I got your message. What I'm going to look at is where are we spending $137,000 in 45 to 60 days?
Most of the stuff you will see, most of it is public safety, fire, police, and some public works, vehicle maintenance, which you see we have on here. Almost every day I'm getting police calls that break it down every single day, and I'm not being figurative about it, literally every single day. So
that's what
no, most of it,
I
yeah.
want to see that.
Okay.
So, because what we should be doing is we should look where we're spending the most of our money, seeing how our budget is performing, and seeing where we need to make amendments based on the things that we actually need and not just things that we believe we need. And I think that having that information would give us a foundation to start from, and then it will put us in a posture, in a position that we'll know exactly where our money is being spent. And it's not that we won't be able to say that I don't know where $137,000 went. And I think it's important, if we're over the finances, that we should, I see $137,000 and I want to know where it's been spent. And if no other council member is wanted to know that information, you can email it to me, I'll look through it.
But
Okay.
remember, it haven't been processed yet.
They
So
haven't
that's-
been processed, I do realize that, but that is something that's going to be processed possibly, and then there's some that are continuing to come behind that. And so 137,000 could end up at that, I think you said in the August meeting that we almost had, what was it, $200,000 worth of past due purchase orders, that you asserted that we had in.
No, I think in August, we learned at the time bills was being billed from
Right.
April. It
And
was
so-
roughly almost $1 million.
Right. And
Right.
so I wanna
Right.
be able to address that before we get there. I know it was several $100,000, and then we came back in October and spoke again and said that it was almost $500,000 that was here from June, I think we said. And so I wanna make sure that we're looking at these, and there is not going to be something that we're gonna be hit with at one time.
Gotcha.
At that amount.
And that amount equals, mostly public safety and public works? maybe?
Right now, what we put, only purchase orders that are going through our emergencies right now.
Uh-huh.
So most of them are fire, police, or public works, when equipment break down. And in many instances, it's very expensive to fix a lot of the equipment, especially when you start dealing with the fire department and public works. A lot of the equipment is very expensive to fix. So that number can jump up very high, which you'll see this shortly when we get further down to the agenda I have tonight. Some other issues that we have that definitely need your assistance with.
And in the email that we received today around 3, is that going to be in there?
You see from email how it?
The financial report.
Oh, financial statement. Okay.
Did you send another one?
Well, use financial statement just the stuff that you get every month, with the finances of the
So
city.
that won't be detailed? What Councilwoman Jackson is asking about won't be detailed in
Is that
in this
inside?
particular email?
Nah, it's
No,
not.
okay, I
No,
got you.
because that been processed, it's
I got
not. I know, last Thursday, I think you had a public safety meeting I wasn't able to attend, but Chief Carter was here, Mr. Van Dyke was here as well, but from my understanding, there was a conversation about police cruisers that came up, and then about the leasing. We have talked about them before leasing some potential police cruisers, which I have inside of your agenda tonight. We bring it to work session, discuss the need for police vehicles. Right now, we spend a lot of money in maintenance. Last year alone, that's why I have Chief Carter here tonight. Last year alone, we spent over $100,000. What we're asking the council to consider is just looking at taking half of that maintenance money and allow us to lease 6 new vehicles, which the price itself would be suitable instead of continuing to repair broken, dilapidated cars, which they are breaking down every other day. It's basically throwing money to a hole, and I just want the council to have. Chief, you mind joining me up here?
Councilwoman, Thomas said Councilwoman.
Mayor, you just made a statement that was brought up in the public safety meeting.
Previous meeting, not last, but previous public safety meeting. The one we had over here at the convention center, the one I was at.
Well, I was present
With
there.
the U.S. attorney there, and the chief spoke briefly about the need for new cars. I was there at that meeting, I had to leave due to Bible study.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's what I was trying to.
Oh,
That's why I said,
Last
I said I was unable to make the last meeting.
We briefly
Right,
came up.
right.
Councilwoman
Are you?
Jackson.
Okay. So, Chief brought up at that meeting, this last one, that we were in on last Thursday, that he received a BJA grant, or JAG grant, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that what you wrote for in that grant was overtime.
Yes, ma'am. Now, let me be clear, the
Please.
planning department wrote that grant. It's all been applied over time, yes, ma'am.
So, but you, well, let me ask the question. Did you have anything to do with the writing of that grant? Any input in how you wanted your department's funding to be spent?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, I made it clear that overtime was a priority, and additionally, I took it upon myself. I reached out to Senator Shelby's office as well.
Okay. And so, there are some grants that are only applied for, that are just for overtime. Then there are other grants that you can apply for equipment, is that correct?
We additionally applied for a grant for an anti-gang grant, and then we applied for an equipment grant that was denied.
That's correct.
Which?
The equipment grant was
Was
denied.
not from JAG?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it was cops, but yeah, that's similar.
Yeah, JAG is the overall body, justice assistance. Within it, you have burn, you have cops, safe streets.
I understand. What I'm asking is, I've heard this since I've been up here, we need new vehicles. And we've always tried to accommodate the overtime. And it was that, the grant that you wrote, was it only for overtime? Could you only write for overtime? And so that's the reason that you only put overtime into the grant? I guess I'm looking at both of you all.
Well, I didn't write the grant, but I mean, you know, once a grant is written, you can't, I mean, you can't.
I understand it.
All right.
What I'm asking is, the announcement, was it only for overtime? Was this an overtime only announcement?
It basically is, it does leave provisions in there for educational information, if you want to go around to schools and give out literature, telling them about
But
safety.
it does not
But-
allow for equipment?
No.
Okay. So I spoke with the DECA, and you told me that you know those individuals over there quite well. And what they asserted to me is that they want to help Selma, and that they know that we're in need, but they thought that we had actually gotten an equipment grant, and then we need to contact them, and they'll see what they can do if we haven't received an equipment grant. And the reason
Ma'am,
why I said-
let me back up. I'm in regular contact with the DEC. In fact, those body of grants, I used to manage at a lead. I'm very familiar with those grants. The proposal that I'm gonna bring is revenue neutral. I'm not asking for any money.
I understand, what the mayor just stated is that we're gonna take our maintenance money that we're spending on maintenance, and we're gonna put it on getting these new vehicles.
Only a portion.
It's not all of it.
Six.
Well,
Right.
because-
Just like we did with the new trucks that we brought, the maintenance money that for the new public works trucks, we took that and we put it over there, but we're still having public work issues.
Not with
and
trucks
we're
though,
still-
not with the trash trucks.
But we're still having maintenance problem, as you stated earlier, that most of our money is spent on public works and public safety, and so we're still having maintenance issues there. And so what I'm asserting is that if we're buying 6 new vehicles at $173,753, what about those other 18 vehicles or more or less that we're gonna still have to service?
So we would like to surplus some of those vehicles, which would help out with this effort. We'll be able to sell, get some money back from that. And we just like to just put some on the rest. It's impossible. Many of our officers, I'll tell you, the chief can speak more about it. It is so ridiculous that we were on a high-speed chase and the car broke down, our car. And what did the guy do? What did the guy do?
The subject was wanted for murder
He waived those.
in multiple states. We were called upon by the U.S. Marshals. They pinged a cell phone. It's already happened, so I can talk about it. They pinged a cell phone at 2 locations in Selma. They called upon our SWAT team. They couldn't assemble theirs in time to hit the residents. We hit it at daylight. We missed the suspect. We moved quickly to the second location. We had a search warrant on. The first location we hit, the suspect was hiding across the street. We always leave an officer. When he saw the SWAT team leave, the subject fled. The officer remained, got in pursuit with him, and the car broke down on 80 during the pursuit. The subject was wanted in multiple states for murder.
Okay.
That's not them like that. It's just not that
I
much.
was just about to say, and I've heard it before, and it's sad. But however, I think that this is something that needs to be developed, within the budget. I was just at a meeting last week with the DECA, and our new sheriff was there, and he stated that as a part of their budget, that they, continually, do 6 vehicles every 2 years. And so if we could do something like this, but to assert, especially after this meeting that we just had, and all the monies that we haven't yet discussed that is going to be due in the next year or so, to ask us in the middle of the year to move any funds when we haven't looked at our budget performance as of yet, to determine where we are just at this year, at this juncture. I think it's just a little premature. Maybe we can look at this as part of our finance committee meeting, because I will not move a dollar based on the conversation that we had with the finance department and your office. And what you just stated, that most of these $137,000 in invoices are from public safety and public works.
Well, I had to. It's not premature. We actually brought y'all this plan 2 years ago. We brought it to you last year, so it's not premature. What we're saying to you is that we're in such a posture right now. We don't have enough cars for our officers. Let's just gonna have officers on the staff who's not working. We're at, what, down to 10 cars? I mean, it's ridiculous.
So what we did last year is in the middle of the year, maybe about this time, I think it was actually in June, that we decided to go ahead and buy those public works vehicles. And then we had this huge layoff, but we were able to get those in. When we did have a treasurer, she said, do not, that our most difficult time is going to be June, July, and August. That's going to be a difficult time for payments. Do not do anything unless look at it in the budget. And so I'm just asking, in the absence of a treasurer, and just looking at some of the data that I've seen and some of the things that have come to light, and that we just look at this as a complete package. I think it's necessary. I think it's something that we need to do routinely, like they're doing at the county. However, I think that to ask us to do it outside of the budget period, and we don't know how much we do. If you gave me the budget performance report, and I saw in the budget performance report that we had $500,000, and we're just throwing out numbers, $500,000, and we spent $300,000 already. You know, I said, wow, that is tragic, and we need to make sure that the next budget, that we don't put $300,000 and we actually put $200,000 toward these new vehicles. But right now, we don't know what we spent, and if we take this money and
I know what we spent.
Okay, but
Two things. The report that we send out every month, the budget report, that's in there, the performance, it's showing you how much we spent. Second thing, the treasurer said not to do it, but the first payment due to this summer. The treasurer.
She told us last year, we laid off 68 employees after that.
Based
That's
off,
what's making me nervous.
but that was based off y'all's budget, a budget that we just talked about,
But it was
$1
also
million
based off-
shortfall, $1 million shortfall.
It was also based off.
It's $1 million short.
Off business license.
But it was also based off our decision to go ahead and fund public works trucks, which were much needed outside of the budget time, and we hadn't considered what were the things that were coming down the whole. We hadn't considered that we had 6 months, as you were saying, or $500,000 worth of purchase orders that were being held back. Those are things that we had considered when we made that, and I just want to make sure that we're making the best decision possible. You say you have those numbers, how much we spent, and how much, tell me, actually how much is allocated for maintenance?
Last year, $75,000, we spent $111,000. I brought this same plan to you guys when the budget was being developed as well, and then I also brought it my first year here. This is my third time bringing this plan, and we discussed it at the public safety meeting, the public hearing. Remember, we had that at the convention center? And if you'll just, I understand your point, you're the appropriator, you're the policy maker, but I'd at least like to explain it. In the past year's fiscal budget, we were appropriated $75,000 in maintenance. We spent $111,000.
So you're over budget.
Way over budget, yes, ma'am. And part of that comes from trying.
Taking that money is not actually correct.
No, I'm in last year's last fiscal year. I'm in I'm talking FY 17.
17.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're saying that the budget that we
Wait.
did pass, that we extended?
That's correct, yes, ma'am. So what I brought forth then, and I agree with you, whether Chief Collier's in place, or Chief Brock, or Chief whoever, until you have a continuous fleet program, you're going to continually have these problems, and we're having them. And it's to the point where it's an officer safety issue. Now, we're responsible for things like tread depth on tires, catalytic converters, vehicles running hot, and the safety issue. The plan I'm bringing again would simply divert a portion of the maintenance, the allocated maintenance money, and I understand the total amount you're talking about, but the annual appropriation is it's about $40,000 a year. With that is both full warranty and preventive maintenance, and that gives me 6 patrol cars on the road. In addition to that, as what I've asked for before, is a line item, exactly what you're saying, a solution, a continuous solution, a line item for fleet. That would include insurance reimbursements when vehicles are totaled out into the fleet maintenance line item, and then additionally giving me the authority, you ultimately making the decision, but bring you on a routine basis, at least annually or semi-annually, vehicles that are ready to be surplus. We have over 10 vehicles that should be surplus. It costs way more to fix them than they're worth. But those vehicles have a value on the market. One of the things we did when I was at Aaliyah was identifying when they get to this mileage point, it's costing more to fix them than to keep them. We're better off to sell them. We have at least 10, maybe 12, where we're at that point where we can sell those and get $2,000 or $2,500 for those. That would go back into this line item, and off the top, I mean, I would be making a guess, but that would be 25,000 towards the 40,000. And it's revenue neutral. I'm not asking for any additional money. I understand what you're saying about reappropriating or making an adjustment, but I can tell you during my tenure, and then I've gone back and looked at least 2 years prior to me being here, we have not surplused any police vehicles. And I don't understand
We
why.
got some new ones though.
No, yes, ma'am, what I'm talking about is we get calls all the time, people wanting, hey, do you have any vehicles you want to
Right
sell?
before this administration, we got some brand new, vehicles, right?
No, ma'am. 2012, we got 2012, and prior to 2012, 8 have been purchased in this administration. And the last purchase.
We had some.
But I'm not talking about purchase, I'm talking about selling. We've got some that are.
Yeah, no, you're talking about surplus
Right.
them out.
Yes, ma'am.
The ones that are new. Yeah.
Well, Chief, as I'm driving through the city, like Reliable, some bid, I see a police car there. Firestone, I see a car there. Hatch Automotive, I see a car there. And they've been sitting there for months.
Yes, ma'am.
So, these cars will be out of condition, that need, take a lot of money to repair or something.
Yeah, they're generally vehicles at a point that's gonna take a large amount to fix them, so we're holding. I went to finance today to check on a PO, and, I went to the clerk's office to try and get a PO, and she was going over the POs, and almost everyone was to Reliable or Firestone. I just think we can save a lot of that money, plus put our officers in a safer vehicle and reduce the liability upon the city. You know, we absorb that liability of putting that officer in an unsafe vehicle. So I think we accomplished both things.
I think we did talk about one time, Mr. President, about hiring an in-house mechanic, can help us service our cars.
It's $60,000.
So we, yeah, I mean, like, I have to do so eventually, because like you said, you're right, you're gonna have to tell the mechanics to be able to do that, and we're gonna have to be able to pay them, to keep our cars served, but we got to figure out something. Again, that's very embarrassing if our officers are chasing a suspect, and then all of a sudden he waving at us by, that's real sad. You know, so, but, we gotta do something soon, but I just wonder why the 3 cars are still there, and hadn't seen them move in months, so you can answer my question.
Yes.
Maybe I was drinking when it's business license. For some reason, I keep thinking it's still 2.2, 2.5. I remember seeing it, but I have to go back and look at the budget.
That's why I asked for, the copy that you were,
That's the budget we was getting.
expounding on, but because I remember a correction being made. I don't remember this being the final. That's why I asked to look at what you were talking about with my own eyes. Cause I'm thinking what you're thinking, the same thing that you're thinking, and
But that comes from the finance department, that's the only budget they're aware of as well.
and this is the last one you have, Ms. Oliver, right?
Yes.
But I'm not sure this is the last one you have, Mayor, and that's what I'm gonna search in my email for, because I remember a different figure is what I remember. I certainly don't remember anything in the number 3. It just doesn't strike a bell. I remember a correction being made, I remember all that, but, that is why I wanted to see what it was that you were talking about in the budget that you had in your hand.
But the budget we got was, along with that came a letter from the president saying this is the budget that the council voted on. And so that's the budget that the finance department put inside the system.
Councilwoman
Thomas said
Thomas.
yes.
Yeah. I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to ask, what happened to the grant that the plan developer had applied for? Remember we was talking about those, you was talking about these town halls? that we-
USDA grants.
We never heard any more about it. What happened?
Well, the president said he had looked into it, and I was going to hear back from the council. It's in the meeting that the president said he had looked into it. It wasn't JAG, no, she's talking about USDA. It was up for the council to approve of that. You all never approved of it.
That's all Henry had.
Well, basically, let me tell you,
Right.
what happened when I talked to my good friend Ivy Gordon, he had some concerns about the fact when we said that we was having financial challenges. That's when he pulled the grant back off the table, but it's still on the table, but we just need to do what we need to do.
Right.
All right.
That's what I wanted to know what happened.
I thought he was coming to one of our meetings. I'll call him again.
Councilwoman Jackson.
I guess, Chief, You said that we have in the budget $40,000 for maintenance.
Yes, ma'am. We were budgeted for 75 in FY17, but we spent way more than that, Council.
Right. What is in this?
I don't know, I was not involved in this
Can you
year.
tell me what's in the budget for maintenance for the police department? Because you're asserting that it's going to be neutral, and I guess if you're over budget and you're spending,
I'm basing it off of that. You're dead on. Yes, ma'am.
Because I'm saying what's the budget.
You're right. I'm basing it off of that we're spending way above what we.
So actually, what you're stating is what I asserted earlier, that we're not putting funding where it should be, because funding should actually probably go into maintenance or new vehicles or.
I agree with the second part of that. The maintenance part, at some point you gotta just say it's not solvable, it's just not worth investing anymore. But I understand what you're saying.
When I say maintenance, I'm saying if we say we're gonna spend another $75,000 in maintenance and we saw that in FY17, we spent $175,000, we should have budgeted $75,000 again. We should have budgeted $200,000 in that area, and we should have moved some money from another area, because that would be more in line with what we're spending. We shouldn't just say 75. How much?
Oh, no.
But also, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but I also think we've got to make a decision. Are we comfortable spending $75,000 a year putting transmission after transmission in 2002 Ford Crown Victorias? What I'm saying is, as opposed to investing that much or putting even more, because we spent more, you're right, we spent 111. As opposed to that, why not look at purchasing or leasing with built-in maintenance where we're not spending, and that maintenance cost would come down, plus we're getting a safer vehicle.
And I agree with you. However, you asserted earlier that he brought this to us twice, and this is
Three times.
Third time.
Yes,
This is
ma'am.
actually the third time. The first time we had a budget, we weren't even able to go through the process
Understand.
because we had a fiasco. The second time, we had another fiasco, we weren't able to go through the process because we decided not to increase the taxes. But that's during the budget hearing is when we should hear your concerns regarding these matters. I mean, 6 months into the budget, 5.5 months into the budget, it's already been passed, and just come and say, well, this is neutral spending when we've allocated 75,000 and you're asking for 175,000.
No, ma'am, I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for 40,000, and what I think I can recoup 25,000 immediately by surplusing vehicles that are just sitting collecting weeds.
Right.
So really, I think we would get by with a transfer of anywhere from 15,000 to 20,000 if you give me the authority. You would ultimately vote on it, but put together a list to be surplus.
Right, and I'm fine with the surplus. I guess what I'm talking about here is, what I found in my dealings here, that we're a little short-sighted. That we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
We're talking about 40,000 right now, but I'm talking about 173,000 over 60 months.
Ma'am, I agree with you. I think we've been short-sighted. We being the police department's been short-sighted in the.
Finance.
I can only talk about, we've been short-sighted. We've never developed it, at least I consider in my tenure, one of the first things I identified is we do not have a continuous fleet maintenance program. The best practices from the federal government says a city our size should purchase 6 vehicles a year. We're not even coming close to that. So we've got to put to, whether I'm the chief or someone else chief or the chief before me, you've got to have a continuous fleet program to maintain that. That's how other cities, you mentioned sheriff's office, that's how they're doing it. Well, I think one step to do that, and it's what we talked about at the public hearing at the convention center, and I've talked about it here, and in one of the budget hearings we did talk about it, is creating a separate line item for fleet. Initially start by diverting a portion of the maintenance money. Secondly, divert any insurance payments into fleet, and then surplusing any unused vehicles or vehicles that we could sell, and just doing that continuously. And then that's going to create a continuous fleet program.
And I understand that. I guess we're speaking tomato tomato. What I'm saying, Chief, is what you have here is something you need, but the timing is not right. Well, when we need to hear this, I believe, and I'm not sure about other council members, is at the budget hearing, and you need to be just as impassioned about making sure that's there, and you need to work with the council in developing that, make them understand. I know that the mayor actually actually brings the budget to the council, but if the council says, well, no, we're not going to do this, don't run away, don't leave us to fend for ourselves, come back and say, well, we absolutely, this is our #1 priority this year, and if we get nothing else, we got to have this year. Don't say, well, this is not a wish list, we got to have all 10 things and we don't want anything. Let us know, and I'll be advocating that we do this, but what I heard in our meeting 2 weeks ago is that we're coming quickly upon a $2.2 million bill that we're going to have to pay every year for 6 years, and that scares me that we're not looking at how we're gonna pay for that, but we're looking at police cars, this, and we're adding more debt, and we're not determining how we're gonna pay what we already currently
I
have
understand.
for. So if you bring this back and you go through your budget where you are now, what we've allocated, and you say, well, I've squeezed my budget in these areas, I've applied for grants in these things, and we've made do without in this area, and this where I found $200,000 for this year, and this is what we want to do, you're gonna have my support.
Well, I appreciate that, but I also want to be clear, in every budget proposal that I have submitted as chief of police, now, I can't control the process when it gets here. I've worn that hat before, I don't anymore.
Right.
But every one I've ever submitted, it's had a fleet program in it. It is short-sighted and a lack of leadership. There's never been a fleet program here. I don't think we're disagreeing with each other.
No.
I'm so passionate about it now because we're gonna get one of my officers hurt.
Right.
These vehicles are not safe for my officers to be driving. That's why I'm passionate about it right now. Because I get the call from a Saturday night when cars run hot or tires blow out and they can't change them and the calls don't stop. So that's why I'm so passionate. I've always been passionate about it. It's a leadership thing. We've got to fix it. But if you say come back that process, I'll be back.
Listen, the council has to vote. That's just my opinion.
Understand.
The council has to vote as a whole. I'm glad you're passionate about it. We want leaders to be passionate about their job. I'm passionate about making sure that we don't go bankruptcy.
I understand.
Don't
You got
file bankruptcy in the next several years. But what I want to do is work with your office. We haven't been through the process. I'm sorry. Since I've been here, I went to one budget hearing over at the Performing Arts where we presented 2 budgets and everything went right. I went to another couple of budget hearings where we had here, and then we wrote down the tax and everything went right. And so I haven't been through a complete process. I would love in my 3rd year to see how it really is supposed to work. And so I would love to work with you and see how we can get that if the Sheriff of Public Safety does not mind. I believe this is something that you actually need. I just want to make sure that we get it at the time that we can afford it, that we don't make an impassionate plea and then we lay our 50 employees behind it.
Well, and I predicate, as I did in the public safety hearing the other night, and as I did in the public safety hearing in the public, I predicate everything with the understanding that there's people that lost their jobs. So I don't look upon that way.
One quick, Chief. Okay, when the Attorney General was at the public safety meeting, he made a statement that, it's basically, yes, this based on the ed. Well, how did you interpret that, Chief?
Based on what, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I said when the question was made, who came up to the, when the U.S. Attorney made a statement saying this is it.
Yeah.
Selma.
How
did you interpret that?
He predicated that with and it bit a little bit, but he predicated it with, if you're gonna outfit your officers with junk, then they're gonna do their job with junk. That was his statement. I don't want to speak for him, that was a statement. But I took it as this is from the crime perspective, this is really our last ditch effort from what we would call a whole community concept of addressing that. And that's what I took it as. I didn't take it as a threat. I took it as, and he shared that with me privately. We got one shot. We got one shot right now. We have the commitment. They're here today. They're gonna be here tomorrow. We have that investment. But we also gotta have a little local ownership. That's right. We gotta have a little local ownership in the league. Then I've got one other issue outside of this, just I want to bring up just briefly.
Okay, hello.
Okay, my comment is to Councilman Johnson, so I'll come back around to Councilwoman.
Since we're talking about the JAG grant, do you have any other questions, Council?
Oh, yeah.
JAG grant.
I wanted to ask Henry. Henry, since you're the one that do a lot of the grants.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was concerned, I was reading up, Isn't it true that, the JAG grant that, when did you put in for the JAG?
Well, the JAG grant initially, the JAG grant prior to the last 2 years has always been a joint effort between the county and the city, where the city splits the JAG money with the Dallas County. However, approximately 2 years ago, the county authorized the city to basically control the JAG grant for this, to get, basically all of the money goes to the city for both JAG as a written currently. Now, the issue that we have, we've gotten 2 JAG grants that we've been awarded, that are all, the funds have been awarded to the city for overtime for police officers.
Okay, so the two JAG grants you recently received, both of them is awarded to pay overtime?
That's correct, that's
To pay
correct.
the officer overtime?
Yes.
Nothing else but overtime?
Yes, I mean, there's some, for educational literature, you can go to schools and you can talk about crime prevention or things of that nature. You can do a couple of brochures for a minimal amount, but the majority of the grant is written strictly for overtime. Now, in the past, there were grants, there were portions that were allotted out for either equipment and training, and there were certain sections, but the money has dwindled down consistently every year to now. You know, when we first got the JAG, I think it was $119,000, and it's dwindled every year since
So
then.
with the 2 JAG grants that you received, what's the total that came to?
That we received each.
Yeah, you said you got 2.
Well, we didn't get 2 at the same time.
But
We
I'm
got,
saying, in between, what would you say, what year you got them? Is it this year, it was last year, 2018?
yes, no, last year and the year before last.
So you got it 2017 and 2018?
That's correct.
And what's the total amount in between there? In 2017?
Well, one was 23 and the other one was 19.
So, that amount in that period of time, you've been using it paying just for overtime only?
Yes, ma'am. And we have to do quarterly reports on that to the Department of Justice County, notifying them based on our spending, and it kind of goes in with the payroll based on the accessibility of need is mainly.
Okay, when you say accessibility of need, I was reading up on the about the JAG grant, and it said something in there too. You know, when the chief came to us about, asking us about the 2 officers at our last public safety meeting for the school, remember when you told us? I was reading up a little about in there about the JAG grants, according to the way it can be awarded to the city. And it was saying that, the JAG grants can be used to assist of high, placing officers.
If it was written to.
Yeah, so, but
for
that's
that-
why I was saying, I wanted to hear from you.
But-
Exactly, what did you write it up? Did you-
Yeah, it was written
It has
based
to
on.
be earmarked.
Yeah, it has to be
Earmarked.
written based on that type of pretenses. Now, the major thing in which we also have to keep in mind when you're applying for a JAG grant, the major needs are things you get higher points when you do an application based on there being a higher need for it in your community. Yeah, yeah, now if you're doing it to a school and there hasn't been, you're saying, okay, well, I'm gonna do it for a guard, but you don't have the literature to back your statements up, or there have been shootings or things of that nature,
That's
it
why I
makes it a
said-
lot tougher to even get the funds at all. You may be pushed over for somebody that, based under a community that has a lot of gang violence and things like that, it
Like
makes
our
it,
youth.
yes, it makes it a whole lot easier to be awarded those grants. So
So that's why I
that's
asked you-
basically what they were written, based on the need. And
Okay.
that was the major issue here, that we needed more men on the ground, and that's why we put it for overtime.
Just for
Yes.
Also, does that encompass, special details?
We use
JAG
it,
grant?
we use it for that.
But, And that's why I was asking him, like he said, he needs 2 more officers for the,
Well,
no, let me, at the public safety meeting, he said they needed 5, and it was 5. And he was asking the council to give the funding for 2 more.
2.5.
Two,
That's the difference.
And then, that's why I was asking you if like you say.
You're saying use that COPS grant for those 2.5 officers?
Cops grant.
You know what I was talking about?
Yeah, I do.
He's still paying overtime, he's using the money to pay the costs, to be out here, and it's the same thing as public safety for the schools, isn't it?
The difference is, losing the 15 slots, if Henry would not have been so successful in the COPS grant for the overtime, we would struggle to meet calls right now. When you go from 60 slots to 45 slots, that's massive. So we're able to use that overtime grant, and officers are working double shifts, and that's keeping us, I mean, we're able to handle calls as a result of that. That and one other thing, because we need to give credit where credit's due, Mr. Randolph's decision to hire off-duty officers for the different housing developments on the weekends gives us an extra 4 to 5 officers. Without that, with the cut in slots, we would be in bad trouble.
I just wanted to know because I had.
Yeah,
I wanted to know what the purpose, when he said that we have a JAG grant, and I wanted to know what type did he apply for, because he was reading.
We're spending it almost on all overtime, on special details, weekends past special detail it covered all overtime.
But they might be laughing, but the city need to know, if the city get a JAG grant, need to know what type of grant that this money is being spent.
It's an
into
overtime.
the city.
It's an overtime grant, or it's a manpower grant.
Okay.
Right.
Mr. Thompson, you probably can stay up with Chief, because part is for you, and I think part is for Chief, I think. So the JAG grant is based on needs.
Yeah.
And we develop that need, we create the literature on it, we build that need according to our city statistics, we collect the data on it.
Correct.
So we create the environment for the grant.
Sure.
And we say what the need is. And the U.S. Attorney said, this is one of the things I'm banking off of that Councilman Johnson said. The other thing the U.S. Attorney said was this. First of all, he said it might be the last time. And then he also said this, right? Remember this part, Chief? He also said this situation cannot be prosecuted away. And I think if we took that information that he said, because he's the U.S. Attorney, create our own need, so there is a need for something else on the other side of this. There is a need for something else. Rather than all this overtime. Let's say overtime is needed, but there is a need for something else to balance this out, because you cannot prosecute this away. And so once you create that need that you're writing the grant, because good grant writers do that, you create that need and an environment for that right there, then you've gotten the grant for what you need it for.
That's right.
There's another need in this city
That's right.
that we're not discussing, and I think, and I'm not speaking for the U.S. Attorney, but I believe that is what he said when he stood up there and he said, y'all, we're holding the waters back for Selma, but it's up for Selma to figure out what's wrong with Selma. And he said that. He said, we cannot prosecute your problem away from you. That's a need that could be written into a needs-based grant, where if we collect that data, use it, and put that into the grant. So I think that going forward in the future, when we write a grant like that right there, then we need to collect. Collecting data is no problem in Selma, Alabama when it comes to violent crimes. We got a whole plethora of collection of data from the courts to the schools to wherever you want to find that data from. I even have surveys from young people from the youth conference. But we have that data to put into a needs-based grant. So moving forward, if we can think about that, drop that, if I could drop that in your spirit, think about that. We need to address something that's not being addressed, so that we won't need so many officers needing overtime. We won't need so many officers running hither and thither, because we are addressing the root of the matter. And until we address the root of the matter, I think Chief, you said until we get a fleet management program, but also until we address the root of the matter in Selma, Alabama, we're still gonna be running raggedy. Cops are still gonna be running raggedy. Because this is a different world. This is 21st century. We got 21st century type of people around here. And it's not just kids, it's adults too. We got 21st century type of stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? So we have to address that in a needs-based grant and say, we need to pour some money into this right here. And then this JAG grant may not be the only kind of grant that we get if we have that data that we're collecting, and it won't be hard. I promise you, you can get data out of the wazoo. Concerning it. You can get data forever concerning it. And concerning the overtime, I guess this question is for both of y'all. Is the overtime just for the police department, or is it for public safety? Because I don't want to get this thing confused. When we're talking about public safety, we're not just talking about the police department. When we're talking about public safety, we're talking about the whole realm of public safety. So is this overtime just for police officers, or is it for public safety?
This particular
And why?
is strictly for police.
Okay.
There's other grants that we've written that were regarding the fire department that strictly go along their ends, and there's other grants that are available for them, but there's some catches that goes along with them. You can apply for new hires, but you have to be able to maintain those new hires after they pay them for a certain amount of time. So there's catches with everything that you do, but you have to strategically kind of move and kind of forecast based on us doing certain things with the grant funding that we're going to be able to maintain and kind of keep up with.
So this grant for the new hires, since we're talking about new hires, I don't know if they qualify as new hires in the fire department, the new positions,
Sure.
I'm gonna call it that for now, new positions, and that grant that has the catch that you have to maintain them.
Sure.
Which means that when they sign up, whatever it is, they sign the contract or hire or whatever it is, all we have to do is include that you must stay for X amount of time. Is that what you're saying? Or am I
Well, it's to, you can't like just let the grant pay for them to be there for 3 years and then, we don't have money in the budget no more. You all are gone. You have to commit to be able to, after the grant is over with.
Yes, I understand the grants are for sustainability, they're to wean you off of the money,
Yes.
they're to give it to you when you need it, they're
Yes.
wean you off, and
Yes.
you're supposed to sustain
That's
yourself long after that. And so,
Yes.
which means we're supposed to be building this empire
That's correct.
of sustainability within our departments, all of our departments, not just public safety. So I understand that part, but with that particular grant, can that grant be written for the positions? In fire, not JAG, but the grant. Not the JAG grant, but the other.
It's safer.
Yeah, it could be written, but I've been cautioned regarding the feasibility of for additional firefighters portion of the grant. So there's some stipulations that goes along with that one that I don't feel is conducive, but we can review them.
Additional firefighters feasible to the city of Selma?
No, it's some conditions, and like I said, I would be happy to review all of that
Okay.
with you all and
Yeah,
kind
I see
of,
it,
but
because I know
it
y'all
is some stipulations that I've, in speaking with other cities that have done it, they've gotten in a little over their head with it, and it doesn't work, because if you get a grant and then the compliance portion doesn't last, it could jeopardize you from getting future money that you're
Well, I
really,
come see that, so
there's a need
what we need
for.
to do is learn from those cities, get the data that you're talking about. And we like to compare ourselves to other cities all the time.
Sure.
And when cities fail and when they flop, I think we need to take that information, learn from it, tweak our own grants to what we need and say, hey, there's a brick wall, 50 feet ahead, there's a brick wall that we're about to hit. We know this because cities outside and cities in our demographics have that brick wall. So we know that there's a brick wall right there, and so inside of this grant, what we're gonna do is put in protections inside of the grant. So we learn from those, cities that we keep comparing ourselves to. We write a grant that is, sufficient for cell hours, and we are efficient in compliance in that. And compliance is another thing that we have to work on. And I know that your office, I worked in conjunction with your office before I was a councilman, okay? I was managing another office, and I know that you need a compliance manager that focuses on compliance. And I know that your office is probably short-staffed. And compliance is a problem because if you're not compliant, you won't be getting the next grant. You won't get the next, you may get the first one, but you won't get the next one. So I don't know how important compliance is. I don't know who focuses on compliance in your office.
Basically, it's just a staff of two now, it's me and Ms. Carter.
Okay, so that's what I was saying.
Okay, before I go to Councilwoman Jackson, Mr. Henry, have you looked into the WI-4A grant with Carrilli? WI-4A grant?
WIOA.
Workforce investment.
No.
That could be another avenue you may want to look into also.
Okay.
Also, too, let me remember, I mean, maybe I've been drinking too much.
You drink?
Yeah, now I do. But when we was preparing the budget, did we cut slots or did we place it in an unappropriated?
Unappropriated.
We've been in
Actually, that's what I'm about to talk about.
Yeah.
So we put a lot in on
Councilman, and then we're gonna move on, Chief. You gonna-
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes. Chief, did you want to go, you said there was one other issue.
Well-
Did you want to address that right quick before I go into this?
I fully understand your position. You have articulated very well, and I respect it and understand it. But I also have 45 officers that I have to go back and look in the eye. So I am respectfully requesting this council to allow this to be on the agenda, to make this, to develop this fleet maintenance program.
And that's why I told you that it should go on the agenda because there are 9 members. But I think it's inappropriate for us knowing that we're about to go into a season where our funds are going to be low for us to make any purchases. We did that last year, and it didn't work out in our favor or employees' favor.
I
want to talk
understand.
specifically. We're good. I want to talk specifically about those 15 slots. I've heard you say that more than once.
Yes, ma'am.
And what we did with those,
I'm listening, yes.
okay. And what we did with the funds that were in those 15 slots, we put them in unappropriated. And what you stated this evening was that if you didn't get the grant, the overtime grant, that it would be hard to pay overtime. But those slots weren't supposed to be used for overtime. Those slots were supposed to be used for hires, new hires. And that's what I'm talking about. 15 slots, yeah, we were supposed to be trying to
All right,
get
so
up to-
just so I understand, so I have 15 additional slots available I can hire for. Are you saying that?
So let's go back. Okay, so you had 60 slots
Yes, ma'am.
last year. This year, we gave you 45.
Yes, ma'am.
And we took the other 15, the funds that would have made up the other 15, and put them in
Inappropriate funds.
unappropriated funds. Because the funds are supposed to be used for new hires.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's why I told you at the public safety meeting, if you have new hires, then what we did in the budget was make sure that they were gonna be used for new hires. But what you asserted this evening is that they may have been used to offset some of the overtime. You said, your statement was, that if we hadn't got that grant, we would have been hard pressed without the 15 slots. So if I'm misinterpreting without the 15 slots to be that we actually use some of those 15 slots to pay overtime, am I misinterpreting?
Now, it's my understanding that we're using all of the federal grant. But that being said, if you've got 15 slots in inappropriated funds, I would also like to put that on the agenda for tomorrow night to give me those 15 slots back.
Okay, well, back up, we're not on the same page.
Okay.
Okay, so let's turn around.
Okay.
And beep, 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 let's start this over again.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what I'm stating is, the 15 slots from last year that you had in the budget, are you asserting in this meeting that those 15 slots were actually used to assist with the overtime?
No, what I'm saying is we had gotten to 54 officers at one point. The mandate I got here as chief from both the mayor and this council was to get us to 60, we're paying for 60. We got to 54, and then when this budget came out, it had us at 45. Now, we didn't lay anyone off, but if we lost officers through attrition, we just didn't rehire. So we're around the 43 mark, 44 mark. What I'm saying is, we've been able to get by, where in the past, I think that has happened. Those extra slots, when they were not filled, was used for overtime in the past.
That's the question that I had.
Right. But this grant this year has made up the difference where we haven't had to do that. Now, if that's in unappropriated funding, and you know what, I want to ask for all 15. Give me 10.
No, what I'd rather you ask for is give me the numbers, or give the council the numbers. Once you get to 45 and you have some more, say, hey, we're looking at hiring 2 more because.
Oh, ma'am, I can hire right now.
Okay, well, let's move right now because we want all those officers, as many officers as possible. But when you came to the last hearing, before the fiasco last year, I remember sitting there and I asked, it was the Captain Fox, I asked her how many officers, and she stated 54. And I asked her, could she give us something? We never got anything, and I know things fell apart. But what we did receive did not suggest that we had 54. And so what we did was say, okay, instead of using this as what we consider a slush fund for overtime, you're saying you didn't use it.
Well, I want to back up for a second, and of course you got it before. You're the council person. When you use a word like slush fund, when the number one call I get from council members is I need more officers in my ward. What you're calling a slush fund, I used to pay officers to put in your ward.
And what I'm asserting in making this statement is, instead of putting them in 15 slots, we should give you 50 officers. If you have 43, and put the other 10 toward what is actually going towards overtime. We should say that this
Makes
is for
sense.
officers when we're using it for overtime. That's all I'm asserting.
And you remember-
when I made the fleet maintenance, that you can't say that we have $75,000 here and it's going to equal out, because it doesn't equal out. And that's what I'm saying. When we look at budget performance and we're putting this budget together, we should actually be looking at what we spend and basing it off
I
those
totally agree with
needs.
you.
It's just like a grant. You're unable to say after you get the grant, well, we want to decide to do a school resource.
Yeah, but I disagree. No, but budgets are living animals.
Yes, I do believe that. However, if you don't come back before the council and say, hey, we want to use 15 slots for overtime, then it should be used.
I don't disagree. If you recall, I think we defunded 1 slot and bought rifles.
Right.
So I understand. I don't think we necessarily
want to do
disagree.
that. But what I want to say is, that's why we should be working together to develop this budget for our public safety and to assert that we're not here. I heard you mention tonight that Selma has to step up. Selma has to own its problems. And I've heard our U.S. attorney, and I'm very appreciative for all the work he's done. And I've heard him on several occasions state that this may be our last chance. And to me, that means, hey, Selma, we need to work together. But we have people that put together things. We look at Jones Oil with the cemetery fund that have given you equipment. We looked at this council that gave up $5,000 of their discretionary for a total of $45,000 to go back into your budget for things that you all need. We want to work with you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Please, that I do not want the sentiments of the chief of police nor any of the officers to think that it's not the council's will or desire to work with you all. However, funds, finances drive everything. And we don't want to drive into an area that we're teetering on bankruptcy, because we haven't taken the time to make sure that we're doing things appropriately. We did it last year with Public Works. I can't get off of it enough because we did that.
Well, man, please understand. I've done this a long time too. This is debate. I'm not accusing you of anything. It's just debate. I mean, it's my job to argue on behalf of the police department. It's your job to argue on behalf of the city as a whole. So please don't take it as any sign of disrespect. It's just me being an advocate for the department. And we can meet later if you'd prefer to do that.
I want to work with you, please. I do this all the time in court, and I see you all doing this. So there's no disrespect or no hard feelings. I want you to be just as passionate, but I want you to know where our thoughts are coming from, because I want your officers to know that we take public safety seriously. I want the fire department to know that we're here for them, but we want to do it in a way that we are most responsible. And I think in March, when we have to go through those dry months, those dark months, those slow months of finances, is not the appropriate time. Those are just my thoughts when we go over tomorrow.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Can I bring up one final point, and I promise you I'll get out of y'all's way? Because I brought it up a lot.
Yes, I just want to clear about unappropriated funds. Let me
I can bring it
provide
up.
some further clarity about the unappropriated funds. So what we did was, we wanted to, in the next budget, create a budget that is reflective of exactly what we did. So not just the police department and public safety. We took a lot from different departments and we put it in unappropriated funds, right? So if you came and said, we need X amount of officers, we could then project in the upcoming budget, he needed this for FY 18-19. It is possible that he's gonna need 3 more. Or we could say, crime went tremendously down because he, he had 10 more officers, and that 10 is working pretty steadily, then we need to leave it right there and put some more money in maintenance, wherever the money needs to go. But in unappropriated funds is a whole lot of funds from different departments. So it helps us. It's gonna help us in the next budget to say, this is realistic. Okay, because this is what was pulled from unappropriated funds. And this is reflective of what we needed the year before. So we always reflect on the year before. That's what we have to reflect on. And we need a realistic view. And that is why we pull from all the way from the clerk's office and miscellaneous items, from office supplies to whatever. We put it in unappropriated funds. So if you say you need 10 reams of paper in the past, and all you've been using is 1 ream, we know that you only need 1 ream.
But again, part of the passion here today is we're not gonna make it to October as far as vehicles. We're not. So,
So you have 8, and you have.
No, we have more than 8.
Okay, so you have, not 8, so 8 new ones.
No, ma'am.
You have got 8 under your administration.
Yes, ma'am.
And what you're saying is, we're almost at fleet management, we're almost at fleet. Actually.
And maybe the right first step is doing that surplus. I just don't know why it's never been done in the past. Listen, we've got vehicles
You can't
worth.
run your plan without knowing.
Right, we've got vehicles worth less than $1,000 that in the past has had $5,000 worth of camera and light stuck in it. I just don't understand that thought process. So maybe we're not as far off as we think.
Yeah.
But part of the passion here today is, and again, why I'm asking you to consider it tomorrow is, we're not gonna make it to October.
She has a new point. She has a new point.
Just one thing to bring up.
Yeah. Have you purchased any yet?
Oh, no, ma'am. And let me be clear, the numbers I'm citing is one bid. I am waiting on a bid from a local vendor too. We want to give local vendors opportunity. So I'm quoting from a Ford bid, and we're waiting on the local bid. Going over last month's calls, in the past, I've come before you guys about alarms. We're answering 10 alarms a day. 99% of them are false.
That's one of the recommendations.
Yes, sir. So,
I think we talked about it.
we have. I just want to keep it on the radar screen. I just think it's something. I will. Thank y'all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You okay, Ms. Fuller? Okay. Landfill, we have some serious issues in landfill. As you know, it's mandatory for us to be in compliance with ADM. So today we have Ms. Moselle here to talk with us about what's contacting.
Yeah.
As you can see in your package, it's broken right now, and that's the machine that actually press the garbage with the trash into the ground, and to repair that equipment alone is $119,000. A new machine is $753,000. So I got him here to talk about it, and either we're gonna be fined by ADM and get cited a whole lot, or we need to address this issue. And Ms. Moselle, if you will.
Thank you, Council, for allowing me up here to speak on this issue, but we're in a serious situation right now. we're down to one machine. We're using a machine to pack trash and cover trash. It's not supposed to be used for that. And we just had to get a work order on that machine to be repaired just to be able to do that. Now, if we don't do something about this with the trash packer, we're not gonna pass another inspection with ADM at that landfill. It's not gonna happen. We can't do it without the trash packer. The trash packer is 16 years old, 15 to 16 years old. You're supposed to replace them every 10 years. We purchased a German machine from Cowan here, and if you know parts, when you're trying to get parts from Germany, it can be pretty hard at times. So what we decided was to try to purchase a new machine instead of trying to fix the old one. I mean, the old one can be fixed, but if you fix it, you put a new motor in an old machine with old lines and stuff like that, you're just looking for more problems. A hydraulic line, just to replace a line is what, $1,000. And you got over 15, 20 lines in that machine. Last year we had to put a hydraulic pump in it, that was $43,000, just for a pump the size of that bottle. So, right now we're just really asking the council to try to work something out where we can try to lease a machine or rent one. I have a guy from the place here that can explain to you the numbers and where we can work out, maybe a lease agreement or, lease to own or something like that. And if you want, I'll go ahead and bring him up and let him explain to you the numbers and he can break it down for you.
Councilwoman Benson and Councilman.
I'm sorry, tell me your name again.
Moselle Williams.
Moselle Williams.
Yeah.
What's your last name?
Williams.
Mr. Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
First time, yeah. Like
Yeah.
that. What friends?
Well, I've been with City now for 10 years.
He is. The
Yeah.
first time I've ever seen you in life.
But I sit at the landfill all day.
No, please understand what I mean. I mean, this is my first time seeing you ever in life. Like, okay, so you exist. Mr. Williams, you exist and you work over there.
It started off in public works.
Yeah, I started.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. And this bill, this invoice is for 119.
Yeah, that's from Tractor Court.
And the new one is,
735,000.
753,000?
Yeah.
753,000?
Yeah.
Okay, make sure I got the number.
It's in your package,
Yeah,
Councilwoman.
I know you said it doesn't make sense to put a whole motor in there. I just got real grateful and everybody wants the motor because they told me the motor was the car. The motor, if I can
Right.
have your motor,
Right.
Angela, if I could have your motor, my car would run right, no matter how ragged it was on the outside. The very people did have a dent because my brother drove it into a brick wall. But the motor was good. So what I want to ask you, how much is the motor? Because I'm trying to compare this, what you're saying,
Right.
to $753,000.
Okay. The motor.
Right now, we might be fixing
Yeah,
the machine.
the fixing is 115 grand. But if you look at it, you put a new motor in that machine right now, 115 grand. In about 3 weeks, you're gonna replace 4 or 5 hydraulic hoses and maybe the turbo.
$1,000 each.
About $1,000 a piece.
Okay.
Then you have a turbo, that's about maybe 7, 8 grand.
Okay,
And then you have the hydraulic, you have 4 hydraulic pumps at $45,000 a piece.
okay.
Now you're gonna put a new motor in there in about 5 or 6 months, and I've seen it happen in other landfills. Just like that, you're done. I mean, then we're coming back asking for more money and more
No,
money.
that's not what I want you to do.
No, I'm just saying that's what's gonna happen.
What we need is what you just said, the
Right.
rest of what you said, not just the motor amount of this 119.
Right.
We need the rest of what you said to make it
Right,
work. You
right.
also said hydraulic lines at $1,000 a
Right,
piece.
right.
You said something else at 45.
Right.
Because I surely have not made it up to $753,000 yet, but everything you just said to make
Right.
it work right.
Yeah, when it starts adding up.
I made it
and
nowhere
then-
near 753.
Right, and then you figure they'll replace the cleats. Now the machine has been 15 years. It takes about 7, 8 years to wear cleats on the machine. You're looking at what, about 30 grand a wheel, 25
Yes, sir.
grand?
So this is what I'm saying, all right? This is what
Right.
I'm saying. You, the expert, have said we need a new one, right?
Right, we definitely do.
$750,000, almost $1 million.
Yes, ma'am.
You said, you heard the mayor say we are almost possibly $1 million under
Exactly,
something,
right,
which
right.
some of us disagree with.
Right.
Because we think there's, that a correction was made.
Right,
So, I'm not speaking for the council, but
Right.
I don't believe we're about to spend $1 million on it.
well, I'm not asking us to spend $1 million. I'm saying we have a way where we also like the police department, have machines out there that need to be surplus. We have 2 machines out there that's sitting out there almost 15, 16 years, that's collecting dust at 73,000 pounds a piece. and scrap metal.
And what I'm saying is, what is the total amount to get this machine to do the work it's supposed to be doing while we work on getting a new machine like that? That's futuristic, probably. And I'm one council member speaking.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, what will it cost? You brought us 119, but it sounds like it's gonna cost more than 119,
Yeah, it is,
right?
yeah.
Hydraulics and whatever else you said.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, I'm not disputing the fact that we need a new one.
Right.
What I am saying is, we can't afford a new one right now.
Okay, well, what I can do is I can get you a
What is the
rebuild.
total right now to make it do what it's supposed to be doing and pass the inspection of what it's supposed to be? Because we are repairing, different stuff all the time.
Right,
It seems like
right.
we've been repairing that one.
Well, just to make it by is 115 in the quote, but it's just to repair it. You know, that's just to put the motor in there.
How many hours on that machine?
It's quite a few. It's
12 to 14,000?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
16 years old?
Yeah,
16 years old.
He
Typically,
sold it.
you-
This young man, I mean, this fellow that sold us the machine, the first machine. And if you made, he'd like this, he can
So
talk
why
numbers.
did you get it from Germany? You had to?
There's only 3 or 4 manufacturers of trash compactors out there.
Are any in
And-
America?
Yes, ma'am. The one I'm presenting now is a Volvo. It's built in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. The blade and the wheels are actually built in Decatur, Alabama. So it's a different machine than what. Yes, ma'am.
We have one of those.
The wheels and the compactor wheels and the blade are actually built in Decatur. It was a partnership. I've been selling Volvo equipment for over 25 years. I was actually here 15 years ago when I bought the other one. This one wasn't available. I sell the same product to gravel pits across Alabama. And so a lot of commonality in parts. We have parts on hand, they're here locally and everything else. So that's part of the thing. But at 15 years old, you've surpassed the life of that machine.
10 years.
10 years, like you said. Typically what you would do at that point, you would do a total rebuild or an in-frame, which you would probably spend about 60% of the cost of a new machine to do that. Out of pocket financing, however you want to do it. So what we came up with is a 7-year lease on a new program. We've got 3 years of full, similar to what y'all were looking at on police cars. It covers all the oil changes, all the warranty, completely covered for 3 years. So, and the lease payment is $124,496, which is in your paperwork.
A year, 124?
120, yes ma'am. Just call it 125 a year for 7 years
For 7 years.
with $1 buyout.
And you lease it for
7 years, yes ma'am. And I have, like I said, I have everything covered in it for the first 3 years. Now, we could extend that up to about 5 years where you would be completely covered for oil changes and warranty, but there would be an additional cost. This is typically kind of what we do. And the
after
standard,
7 years, we just go in and do, like we can do with cars.
right, typically, right. I mean, that's ideally, or at that point, you can assess your thing and decide if it's worth running it to the 10-year mark, which a lot of people do on these type machines. So you could get possibly the other 3 years out of it, get to 10 years before you replaced it. But at this point, from what I'm seeing, I think you've surpassed the life of what you have now.
What is the first payment?
2 months from the lease commencement.
2 months?
2 months.
From when?
From when the lease is started.
Oh.
And I'm probably, depending on what y'all do, like, I have a unit that I could deliver, within about 2 months right now.
And you get a the first payment then?
No, sir, it says 2 months from the lease commencement, so I wouldn't do paperwork till it was delivered, so then you'd be 2 months after that.
After the delivery.
The 100-some thousand.
Yes, sir.
That can be broke down 12 payments.
I'm not sure. Typically on governmental, because of the way y'all have to appropriate funds, they don't do monthly, it's always annual payments.
Okay, now, you answered a lot of my questions. I did want to talk about this. Now, we leased some trucks, and I think with the trucks that we got now, that every so many years that this company will purchase a truck back and we can get some new trucks from them. With this lease here, you don't do this.
The equipment side's not done that way. I do a lot of leases on the private side as well. Typically, you could do a shorter term lease, 2 to 3 years, and then possibly turn it in and do it. Your payment's probably going to go. It's a different structure.
Right.
I haven't seen equipment wise where they offer that on the governmental side.
So you,
Capital equipment. on the government side.
Cause that's where the trucks
Right.
come, I'm
And
mistaken.
is that correct? I mean, that's my understanding on the governmental side. That's, typically, this is the only way I've seen leases done on the governmental side.
So this can't be broken down in 12 payments and stuff, this.
I don't believe so, no.
So we will have, is there anything else?
Any questions y'all got?
Well, Mr. President, I can say this young man, every time I come out there with a trailer and some trash, that, whatever you call it, is nonstop.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about, he constantly working out there, so,
Yeah.
and, I commend you for what you
Well,
know. I
he-
hope the president gets something, but we need it.
I'll take the rebuild, I mean,
Well, he's
I don't want to
actually,
start no trouble, but I can get.
the machine he's using out there right now is an excavator. It's not designed to pack trash, and so he's actually destroying another piece of equipment because the other one is broken, and he can't afford to fix it. And so it's, I mean.
Could we be
he's-
five by eight? Could we be five for?
Oh, absolutely.
Could we be five?
Oh, yeah. He's already made it totally clear. He's made it clear to us, our inspector, that, we have to have proper equipment out there. I mean, you can't expect, things to get done, you don't have what you need to get done. And, this new fella we have out there now, he's a young fella, and he's trying to prove a point. So my job is to make sure he doesn't have a point to prove. So, you know what I mean? That's why I'm here today, to try to get whatever it is I need to get to get the job done. So, that's why I'm saying.
You're gonna give us that grant?
Ma'am.
You're gonna give us that grant?
Yeah, I mean, I have the basic 115 that from Tractor Equipment there, that's just to fix the machine.
Yes.
That's just the basic to fix it. I mean, and we could go with that, I mean, and it could run well, but then again, it could,
No,
putting that new motor in with the old lines,
Can we train that one in?
I'm talking about the
I mean, yeah. I mean, I can get a total rebuild. I can get a total rebuild, but you're looking at, like he said, it's gonna be 60% of what it costs for a new machine.
I heard that,
Yeah.
and I understand that, so what we have to do over here
Right.
is to weigh everything.
I got you.
Sometimes the council doesn't weigh everything.
Okay.
So if you let us see, we'll have a better picture.
All right, I
of
sure
what
will.
you're saying, versus this 119, I think the new lines are needed
All right.
because you said so, and I trust your judgment. Councilman Johnson, you said you did a good job. And so we'll have your information, we'll have this information, then we'll have the gentleman say, tell me your name.
Philip Norton.
Mr. Norton, we'll have Mr. Norton's information. We'll have enough information so that we can make a more informed decision, because we don't.
All right, well, I just want to say one more thing. We need to, I understand that you need to make a informed decision, but we need to move fast. We get inspected every 3 months.
Fast as like.
And we got an inspection coming up in 2 months. Well, actually,
Okay, so then,
yeah.
I want to speak to that.
Yeah,
I want
I
to
know.
speak to that. I want to
An
speak to that.
inspection.
Let me tell you about inspections and departments telling us stuff in due time.
Right.
This is my first time hearing this. All right? This is my first time hearing that you have inappropriate machines.
Right.
It doesn't matter that this is my first time seeing it. But this is my first time getting this information.
Yes, ma'am.
This is my first time hearing you say we're on the deadline.
I don't need, you don't need, I'm not saying you need to move fast. I need to
Yeah.
hurry up and get this
So
paperwork.
we get people all the time telling us we need to move fast, and it's always
No,
a law and money.
No, I mean, I need to move.
So if you need to move, we need to move, but you can't move without us.
No,
So we
no.
need to move with you.
No.
And I'd like to move with you
Yeah.
fast. If you have.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I meant, that came out the wrong way. I meant, I need to hurry up and get, you know what I mean? Get what you need to get.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So, yes, it's just a misunderstanding of words.
Yeah.
But, so this is my first time hearing all the stuff you're presenting today, like, ever hearing that you didn't have adequate equipment, you were using the one type of equipment to do another type of job. I've never heard that.
Well, the machine just broke down about 3 weeks ago.
The machine broke down 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago. I never heard that before, so like in the future, we're talking about in the future a lot, we just talked about tell us those things. Are you there alone, out there alone?
So there's another guy.
Okay.
Yeah, but,
Either one of you could tell us, that, hey, ABM came to see us and it's not gonna be good, and we need to move fast.
Yeah,
Yeah, so now we need to move fast.
right, no, go ahead.
All right, Councilwoman, we brought this a year ago in that capital equipment package. All this was inside that package. It just so happened the machine just broke down, recently, and ABM visit periodically. We
Yeah,
never-
but that package did not reflect that he had inadequate or wrong
We didn't know the machine was gonna break.
equipment. No, no, he had the wrong equipment, man.
No, no, no.
He's using the wrong
We're using the wrong
equipment
equipment
because
now.
the one broke- Because
Yeah.
the one broke down.
Okay, so you
Right.
did it
Hard
wrong.
to repair.
Okay, so that is what the mayor is saying. So what I'm saying is valid. This is my first time here, that you're using the wrong equipment.
Yes, ma'am.
It's my first time here, you're using the wrong equipment, right?
We're at this point right now.
Yeah, so the first time here.
How much is the fine cost of ABM?
It depends on what you're fined for. You know, it can go anywhere from $1,000, $15,000, $20,000.
Per day?
No, it's at one time, one lump sum at a time, until the issue's fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Thomas,
Yes.
thank you.
Mr. Williams, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's good to
Guys,
meet
hear me
you.
out.
But we
Thank
must,
you so much for all the hard
yeah,
work.
you need to look
Thank
into
you
that,
so
see,
much.
if there's kind of way you can break that down in 12 paper.
I'll do some more homework
Yeah,
on
because
that.
we need to move with it, but we do need some cheaper, some small papers.
Smaller papers up.
Right, instead of in 2 months, one lump sum.
One lump sum. All right, thank you for your time. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Boyd, everything else I have on the agenda is basically for committee assignments.
Yes, sir.
And so whenever you assign those committees, just let me know,
Monday.
Monday, okay. Just let me know.
Children's Conference of Finance Committee.
I have an item that might need mayor before he decides.
Okay, go ahead. Councilwoman, I think you might be.
I got one for Henry before he leaves.
Okay. We're gonna go Councilwoman.
Council.
We're gonna go Councilwoman.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, I need you to tell me if this information is correct, because it was, conveyed to me by, people I trust to give me correct information.
Yes, ma'am.
So there was the track meet, for Selma High School was this weekend on Saturday.
Okay.
So I want to back up before the track meet, okay?
Okay.
The coaches,
Mhm.
the young people, including my son, they clean out there. They work pretty hard to get ready for the track. They pressure wash, they got on their hands and knees, they clean bathrooms. Coaches here can confirm it, Coach Turner's here, head coach is here. They did a lot of work to get things ready. They did a lot of stuff that we should have done and had ready to get ready, right? So got ready. They had the middle school track meet on Thursday, and I hope it went well. I was not able to attend the middle schoolers. And then they had the varsity on Saturday. So after the varsity, Coach Turner received a phone call from Mr. Jackson saying that Mr. Van Dyver said to cancel all of the rest of the track meets. Now, I'm telling you for a reason that they got this stuff ready with their own hands and stuff. I'm telling you that they got it ready. And after they got it ready and had the track meet, then there was a cancellation. Now, what I'm saying is what was relayed to me, all right? So, I'm relaying it to you the way that it was relayed to me. And so I need you to help me with some clarity on why that could be, or it's just not true.
I can tell you what possibly could have happened
Okay.
due to the lack of manpower. Today, for instance, we met with the baseball coaches at
They
Selma
said-
High,
they said that.
and they say they're willing to assist with keeping the fields
Yeah.
in line, or for them to utilize our fields. So maybe the conversation, I can't speak about the conversation, I'd be happy for Mr. Van Dyke to speak about the conversation. Maybe the conversation from Coach Jackson was that I can't do all this by myself.
Yeah, I need Coach Jackson, because
Right.
Coach Jackson is recreation, right, not Mr. Van Dyke.
Coach Jackson's not department head.
Who is?
Mr. Van Dyke is department head.
Now, okay, so going back to what you just said. Okay, so that was discussed too. That they would help with maintenance and all that kind of stuff. And, we also give them a bill, the bill is.
$400.
Yeah, like 4, 6, something like that. We also give them a bill, so that wasn't the problem. That's why I precursed it with telling you how much sweat equity they put.
Let me sit down with both of them and talk with them so I can both of them together and find out what happened.
And the principal, if you don't mind, invite the principal. Because I think the principal can get also the football team to help.
Well, they already agreed today.
Yeah, because he's that kind of principal.
Right, Mr. Van Dijk met with them today, and they agreed to help and football and on the baseball field. So, I mean, we're grateful for that partnership.
Okay.
Moving forward, they said would do help us out.
Do you know what the turnaround is gonna be? Because they have a schedule.
Well, they met today.
that's gonna be canceled.
They met today.
So the meeting already happened?
Yes, the meeting happened today.
Okay, and is this gonna be worked out?
Yes.
Okay, because I think Morgan Academy came after.
Well, we have to meet-
Selma had already got the track ready, and Morgan Academy played too, and I think they were told to cancel too, is that correct?
We're meeting with them this week as well, all
Okay, so
schools,
you're
not
gonna
just
meet with
Selma High.
Morgan?
Anybody who utilize these facilities, they're gonna
Everybody
put some
does.
skin in the game in order to continue to function at
Yeah.
the capacity they would like to function.
Yeah, and I think you will meet them with, no adversity. I think you
Right.
will see that they will be willing to help in order for these young people, to continue with, because we're not gonna be able to attract a state track meet again unless we have that right there in place.
I know you don't want to talk about the need for finances, because part of that conversation is that track needs to be done. And that's around $200,000 to redo that track.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yes.
And
Only
yeah.
track within 75 miles of this whole area.
That track, yeah, the track is a whole other conversation.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, but that's a part of that conversation. That's part of that conversation, I guess, the finance
And the
committee.
bathrooms are gonna need to be redone.
Yes.
But I want to recognize Coach Turner, please stand, because she made a decision that Selma High School will go and get these tracks ready for all the other schools who had to use them. When I called her just to check on things, because I check on how things are going, because I'm an active parent, you know, I got a child who's tracking on that parent.
Who want that $7,000? I'm
Who
still
won
waiting.
Shark Tank. But I want to recognize and appreciate her, because when I called her, she's gonna have things cleaning, like bathrooms and pressure washing, concession stand and stuff like that too. It didn't matter to her that everybody had to use the whole stadium.
Right.
What mattered to her is that all schools will be able to use the track, and I just want to recognize her and say thank you. Thank you.
Somebody that's playing track today, what school is that today?
Morgan.
All right, any other questions for Councilwoman Thomas?
Yeah, I got mine from
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Authorization of check.
Yes, I wanted to ask, this is dealing with the city, including all day-to-day.
Ma'am, you've been summoned.
Oh, God, continue, man.
I didn't know. I thought you were still talking about.
No, I got my question. I wanted to know with, there was some questions asked.
But hold on, Ms. Thomas, you said you want to talk to Henry.
You first and
You
then
first,
Henry
okay.
next.
I didn't want to disrespect.
Oh,
you.
no. Henry ready to go, I know Henry ready to go, but
That's why I had to make
this
sure.
gonna be short for you.
They both ready to go.
This gonna be short, but you gotta do everything, you know, cause you can't talk about it Tuesday night, so I'm talking about tonight.
Well, Councilwoman Benjamin told me I had to bring these long reports.
That's
to
why
you,
we're here.
But if you're gonna hold me hostage, I might bring another long report tomorrow night.
Okay,
No, we're not holding you hostage. I'm glad you brought these 11 items, because tomorrow we're getting out of here in 15 minutes.
I just wanna ask you this.
All this time.
Okay, this is all I wanna ask you. On the day, you're the day-to-day operation, the chief of everything.
Yes, ma'am.
So in a daily operation, when anything that has to be signed off, we're dealing with the finance.
Sounds like,
Like, I know you pay the bills, you know, you have the person.
usually when I sign off stuff with finance, it's just for me verifying that what's gone out.
Okay.
I don't authorize, usually this Sequita signs off on it, the clerk.
Saying that the money's there.
Okay, so
The
those are the two.
The clerk actually is the final process before things out, money goes out.
Okay, that's how I want to ask you. You said the clerk in,
Right, it's just come out of me to acknowledge I know what's going on.
okay. Well, I just wanted to hear that out of your mouth, that you said those two.
Thank you, Chief, man.
Thank you.
Say again.
I said, thank you, Chief, man.
Oh, you got it.
Can I discuss my business items
Go ahead.
before you leave? Okay. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
when did we, are we currently, have we signed a new contract with Liberty Seacoast? Or the business?
I talked to the
that
attorney, I'm not sure what that contract is. What's it, a annual contract? I checked with the attorney, see when the contract was due.
Okay, because I was told,
I know recently I haven't signed anything, so I'm not sure if it was more than multiple years or not. I had to go back and check with the attorney. Mr. Boyd, do you know whether it's multiple years?
I thought it was about 2 years.
Okay.
how many years?
I thought it was
2 years. I was told that they signed a new contract in, June or July of this year.
I'm not sure, I had to go back and check.
I don't remember it coming.
I don't
before-
recall either.
Okay. I don't remember.
I know
it
we
coming
talked to
before
them when they
council.
actually came before us and said that if we get up to 4,000 residents on trash services, they'll give us an additional franchise fee. I know that conversation came up in the spring.
Well, I got a copy of the contract. They did not give me a copy of the signed contract, so you want to look into it, make
Okay,
sure that we're actually in a signed contract, because this one started in 2015, it's 2019.
Most
So
of
we
the
should have signed
contracts-
two contracts by now.
Most of their contracts, and Mr. Boyd probably speak more to it, because his tenure is longer. Most of them automatically renew if we do not, they have some kind of clause that will automatically renew the contract.
But you don't
I
talk to
remember
them.
once since I've been here, I remember signing the contract. When that was, I can't recall. I think it was my first year here.
Okay, probably 2017, since this one started in
Perhaps.
2015, it was a 2-year
Perhaps.
contract.
Right.
Okay, so, do you recall in the contract, the city having a requirement to provide a garbage compliance officer, which Mr. Stephen Hendricks did before your administration took over?
And the contract, I can't look at the contract. I can't answer to something I'm not looking at right now.
Here's a copy of that contract. It's very hard to read.
Okay. I'll get one from the city attorney.
Okay, get one from the city attorney, because I've read through it, and he printed it off for me and brought it to me. I wish he would have emailed it me. But he printed it off, and it's very hard to read. I could not find it, but there are several
There should be a
lines.
copy in our office, city attorney office. should be a copy.
Can you please look at this, because if what has been asserted to me, stated to me, is that we're not in compliance with that part of it, of course, because Mr. Hendricks is not here, we don't have a code enforcement, anyone in code enforcement, or a garbage compliance officer specialist, whatever the title would have been, when Mr. Hendricks was here, so I don't, is that something?
I think there was some, Mayor Hendricks put in place.
Yeah, well, everything, he
It
created
was
the
an
position.
environmental.
It's environmental.
officer.
Waste management, something.
Right,
Right.
and so they're saying that that's a part of their contract. Also, they've made me aware of, as of March 6, 2018, we had 3,258 residents that had garbage here. As of 3/6/2019, 1 year later, we have 2,957. We're down 301 residents. We've gotten up to as much as $4,000, but $4,000 residents. We've never gotten to the 6,000 that was stated, that was here you weren't here during that time, during the negotiation of this contract. But to be at 2,900 and to be down 301 in a year, it's probably because we don't have a code enforcement.
Well, part of
We don't
it
have
is,
compliance.
exemptions.
We have about 1,000.
About 1,000 exemptions that skyrocketed. And also part of that, when you said we're down, I think we revisit it. Property owners need to be responsible for having got trash services at their homes. We're not making them responsible. We're putting the burden on the city to make sure we go around to help Liberty, which is a private company, collect money. We're not employees for them. We outsource it. That's their responsibility to have someone go around making sure they're in compliance.
And our responsibility is to keep our city safe and to keep our
Right.
streets safe. And I'm out there at least
Right.
once a month, picking up dirty diapers, running through rooms.
But I'll visit the contract and then we look at the contract.
Because the city doesn't pick up garbage, but we can't afford not to ensure that this is done, private or otherwise. Because what is happening is we're endangering our children and our families.
That's right.
In the streets on this past Saturday, when Liberty did provide us with 2 trailers, which the city would not provide us with trucks, when they did provide us with trucks, what I saw was children playing in the streets.
So you're
While we
asking
were-
about another position
While-
to track this?
No, I'm saying the position that was initially filled by.
As Mr. Boyd said, Mayor illustrated that himself. It
That's
wasn't
why I
necessary.
asked you-
That's why I had to look at the contract. I really can't speak about the contract until I look at it.
Right.
So everything I say now would be pretentious to say that, yeah, this is what we can do or we can't do.
I
And so
understand.
If you
So-
give me this opportunity to look at it, then we can have a conversation on how we move forward.
Yes, sir. And so if you allow me to finish, when I was out there Saturday, we had children playing around us. Miss Marge Burks, Lord, forgive me, because I left her things in the car. She went around Ward 3 and provided me with
Right.
okay.
The reason I was asking, because you all took that out your budget, the Waste County Court is the funding from your budget. You asked me about the
And,
contract that y'all.
right, because we didn't have anyone in that position, it wasn't filled. It wasn't filled.
So right now, I can't put nobody in that would be defunded.
Right, but if we had someone in the position, it could have been saved in the budget, but we don't want to put a position in place and then we use it as a quote-unquote slush fund, overtime fund. But that's not to, I don't want to harp on that. What I want to do is express the concerns of Ms. Margie Burke. She said that she's sent a letter along with some pictures. She's a resident of Ward 3, and she went around the neighborhood, and what she is stating,
We're funny.
she went around the neighborhood and took pictures. And what she's stating is that we have created a landfill on the streets of Selma. What has happened, because we have gotten out of the quote-unquote garbage collection business, is that we've made our streets into a dumping place. And we're creating more dumping sites because we're not enforcing those that are supposed to have garbage. So they see their neighbor doesn't have garbage and nothing is being done to them, and they're creating more sites. And so if you drive down Lapsley, Montgomery Avenue, and Arsenal Place, and all through Selma, oh my goodness, if you come down Washington Street, now I've said as part of National Drug Court Month that we're actually going to go in that area again this year, but I'm afraid to even go in that area. I had some of the AmeriCorps workers were out this weekend. One young lady had urine dumped on her. Now, who would put urine out on the garbage site? I don't know, but when she went to pick it up, it just fell back on her. Of course, she left to go get cleaned up. But what I'm saying is this is a health hazard. She asked me to address this. She stated that she wanted to come before the council this evening or tomorrow evening, but as you know, she's 40-year business owner here and running her dance studio and could not. But she asked that I express this for her, and I told her that I would. And she's also sending a letter and pictures if you don't already have them, because she just gave them to me Thursday. So she's sending that as well. But we're going to have to do something. We can't. I know that you stated that the exemptions are up, but I asked him to provide me with those exemption numbers. Those are not included. These are residents that had it last year and that dropped it because of past due bills and things of that sort, where they picked up their garbage can, not exemption clients where they are newly enrolled from one side to the other. So this is a matter that I seriously want to consider.
Do we currently have a code enforcement officer now, man?
Yeah, you look at it right now, he does so much. We understaffed. I don't think people get it. We have 327 employees when I came in the office. We down to 168. And people keep saying, why are we not doing this? Why are we not doing that? Why are we not doing that? We got half the amount of employees we had when we first started due to the lack of revenue. I mean, like, we're doing the best we can with what we have.
So he's code enforcement.
He's not called enforcement, he helps when I ask him to do something. Like we have an issue, Councilman Johnson called us before, was like, well, you going to cite this person. He's going to cite him because he's working in the department before.
Well, ain't Mike Gordon?
He's with the police department. He's with the police department.
He said he didn't call.
He helps sometimes when we call, yes.
Because we not went there and knocked on the door. That's how I asked you, I had a problem in my ward.
He was just helping that day. I mean, like, he's a police officer. But he's assigned to the police force, and he's working shifts in the police department.
Oh, so he coded?
He helped with code, but he's not the code enforcement officer.
Which one is he? So if I need.
He's a police officer.
Police officer?
Yes, police officer. All right,
I mentioned just to Councilman Show, since he was public work now, about the garbage. I think we all got garbage problem. And one of the things we tried to ask the the landlords to do, and we had a meeting about this, and they did not want to do this, and all we just asked them to do to make sure they got garbage cans. You know, and they had a problem with that. So regardless of what you do, or what you want stuff done, but they don't want to participate in getting it done. So we didn't tell them to pay the bill, we just want to make sure that everybody that own a home, make sure they got a garbage can. That's all. Because the ones that rent the apartments or rent the houses don't have garbage cans. They thought, you go right, I told Ms. Van Down here the other day, go out here in East Selma on the end of Murberry, going toward Ziegler's. You think that's a I'm gonna have to block that street off. You got mattress, couch, toilets, garbage bag, everything out there. Everything is pathetic. It's because the folks that in the rental property and all, and then I myself personally, I went in the garbage bag and got this number. I had that lady come out there and get all that stuff up, but I had to get the help from Mr. Van Dalen. And we find her. She said she paid someone to move the garbage from her house. But I said, where you supposed to move it to, man? I don't know what they did. I said, well, they did it right down the street down here. And I said, you got 1 hour, have that hour on the phone. This is God help truth. This was on Mechanic Street. She took it on the corner of Mechanic and Hall. We need help from the citizens, but I don't care what we do. The citizens got a problem with it. They got to work with us. When we asked them to come in here with Sam was the fucking work. They feel this police up saying they don't want to do it. And all we do is ask them to help us. I'll sit there and look at clean. We need help.
I feel sorry for Mr. Henry. He's been hanging out over there.
Well, he in playing better, we have to answer.
Yes,
The reason I asked you this, because I was very concerned, that building that we bought, right here, is that the building we paid the $120,000 for, that you left the front door?
We left the front.
Right
No.
behind there.
No.
Okay, is that city building?
Yes.
Okay,
It's $119,000 there.
you paid $119,000 there. Okay, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Why was he stopped by the agent, said, not to finish tearing that building down? What's the reason why you haven't taken the rest of it down?
Well-
Because it's a public, you did have it fenced off.
Mm-hmm.
You did have, but now it's not fenced off.
Yes, it should be up. I think it was up for the Jubilee.
Yeah, but I'm gonna ask you, why is the other part hasn't been taken out?
There were some structural issues with the construction and the building that's adjacent to the left side. The structural engineer in Montgomery said that the possibility if we remove all the walls from the building and leave up any area within there, it could possibly crumble and cause a safety hazard for someone playing in that area. And I basically went back before the Historic Commission, and they actually said it would be better to look from the street to actually leave the face of the building up.
So how long is the face of the building supposed to stay up there?
It's gonna stay up until the interpretive center grant begins, which is gonna ultimately encompass that area into the theater.
Mr. Thompson, is this where the city was going with the unlicensed contractor? Is this the same building that he was
Yes.
going?
Yes.
And is
Yes.
that part of the reason that the work has stopped, or did
No.
you stop prior to
It
being
was
warned
stopped,
that he was not licensed?
it was stopped
or was not
prior
supposed
to that
Okay.
time.
Is he currently doing any work for the city?
No,
Okay, and we're not going to have him do any additional work for the city?
no.
Okay, thank you.
That's why I just asked you, because they used to have it fenced, it was blocked off. You know, it was blocked off, because we
Yeah.
cleaned up down there.
Yeah, it was
and I was
knocked
kind
down
of
for some reason, I don't know, I guess maybe citizens or something that knocked it all down, and it was put back up around the Jubilee time, so, but.
So you're gonna make sure that area, that they keep it fenced off,
Yeah,
nobody
it's
can go up in there?
Yeah, it's supposed to.
That's what I was concerned about, because we done there cleaning it up, and I was wondering, why would they leave that, just stop with that? And I was gonna ask you, when was it gonna continue with it?
Well, it's gonna be with the, you know, we got a $2 million expansion going on the interpretive center, which is actually one portion of that job was bid out about maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago. That's gonna do the stairwell, that's gonna be adjacent, that's gonna be the starting process of the overall project that's gonna encompass that portion with the theater. That's what the plans are, but we haven't gotten the final plans yet, but that's was what our intentions were.
Are y'all saying, that you left up the facade,
Yeah,
like on Broad Street?
yes.
So I'm for that. If that's what you did, I'm for that until,
Yeah, to the actual,
Until-
yeah, because it was a safety issue that
yeah.
if we did it a different way, people would have been able to just roam through there. And plus, there's an actual
Yeah.
area in the back of the building that is not, because all of the buildings are conjoined adjacent.
Because I was trying to picture what you all were talking about.
Yeah, it was
I thought it was
a
like,
cover for safety, you know, they had to remove all the, people had to walk, you used to couldn't walk through there. Somebody, I don't know who tore it down or whatever, he had it blocked off. But right before the Jubilee, they moved down and cleaned it up, and I was concerned about it. And I remember, that's the building that the city went off, and I said, look, they need to, put it more safer, keep people out, you know.
yeah, so if you're gonna make it safe and leave the facade up, so because if the facade was not left up on Broad Street with all those buildings, it would look like a gaping hole. Like, it would look terrible.
Yes.
So if you're gonna make it safe and leave the facade up, I'm with that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it was a historic area as well, and hopefully when the design comes, they may leave the face of it up as well, but have the inner portions of the building
Yeah.
within that as well. But all of those are options on the table, and the engineers aware of the process, in which that should be beginning in about a month to a month and a half.
So are you gonna do it like you did Broad Street for character purposes? You're gonna paint it,
It may, and depending on how the grant goes, the windows may be put back in. They're basically trying to put the design together for the theater, and it may bump right up against the wall right there, where you can't really tell it, but you can see it.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure of how the plans are gonna be once they're finalized, but that was the intention, and basically, because the building was a very historic building.
what's the project name?
Gold Mills and Caleb.
Okay, that's all I wanted to ask you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, Councilwoman Jackson, Finance Department.
Okay, I'm going to whip right through these guys. You heard me continue to say, the finances tonight. And the reason being, is because I did have an opportunity to meet with the mayor and our finance department. And, let me say this. I had an opportunity to hear, those young ladies, in that department express their concerns and their views about the things that we say as council members. And we're putting them in a very precarious situation, seeing as though their direct supervisor is not a treasurer at this time. The direct supervisor is the person that's over day-to-day operations, the mayor, and we're over the finances. And so what they're trying to do is do everything decent and in order. They said prior to Ms. Wade not being in that office and any other treasurer that had been there previously, whenever the council asked for any information, they would give it to the treasurer. They would provide that information to her, she would give that to us. And what they're trying to do is provide that information to who is now their boss, or the direct person over them, the mayor. We talked about the mayor not being over finances, and they understand that. However, they're wanting to make sure that they're in line with the chain of command and what they've always had in place in their office. And I understand that. But when we say things like we can't trust the information, we don't believe the information, they expressed to me, and I allowed them to. It was very heated at times. Expressed to me their concern with that, because they've been here a number of years and they're intelligent, and they're filled with integrity, and they have a desire to be seen in that way. We know that our appointment is the treasurer, and in her absence, they're doing the very best that they can. So I informed them that I would share those sentiments, that we will be cautious. And I know that I will, in the way that I say things, and hearing it from their point of view, that I would express it to our other council members. And we're not in any way trying to put them in a precarious situation. We're trying to get information so we can make the best decision possible. The mayor stated in that meeting he did not have a problem with us getting information. He did not want to impede the process of us getting information, and so I'm going to take all the liberties that I can to get the information. So we should be able to have that. In saying that, you've heard me again say, finances, finances, finances. They were able to share with me some things that I hadn't realized since being on the council, and some things that I would like to share with you guys here. And one of them that really shocked me was this pension payment or bond that is coming due. Currently, we're paying $414,870 a year on this bond pension. This is the one that was refinanced during the time of the blue flu for the approximately $11 million. Let me go back just a little bit. Prior to it being refinanced, it looks as if we got this bond in January 2012, $11,165,000. For the first 4 years, we paid over $3 million back on this bond, but it was all interest payments. So the first 4 years were all interest payments. Then we refinanced the bond, and we're currently making only interest payments. And so since 2017, July 2017, we've been making interest payments in the amount of $414,870. All we're paying currently is interest. In 2020, we're going to start paying principal and interest, which will be a monthly payment of about $54,572.50 a month, to total $654,870. That's a lot of money, guys. And so when the chief says, you know, we need this, and this is only gonna cost $40,000 a month, and it's only gonna cost this much money, this way, I keep saying, we can't continue to make installment payments. Even Councilman Johnson, who's left, asks about the monthly payments on the $700,000 if we chose to get the new equipment. But if you looked at just the information that they provided this evening, and Ms. Oliver is here, and you take the total expenses due by March 31st, which is $943,028.21, and subtract that from the total amount of anticipated revenues, the difference is only $702,000. And what I would like to see, and we could probably ask for, is what's that's going to look like. So that's an overage this month of $702,000, because we may have some things that we hadn't anticipated, but these are just anticipated revenues and expenses, and there may be some revenues that we actually don't get in this month. But this is anticipated. But in the months of June, July, and August, this is speaking, I haven't spoken with Ms. Oliver about this particularly, but remember speaking with Ms. Wade last year about she said those are some really, really lean months. And so we're gonna be closer, $702,000 left over. And of course, Mr. President, you've asked, these are just general funds. So I don't know what's in the other banks because we haven't got that information just yet, but I'm telling you what's coming in and what's going out. So in 2023, July of 2023, we're going to start making a bond payment every year of $2,258,930.04. $2 million a year. If we can't afford the $414,870 a year, how are we going to afford the $2 million a year? That's if we can't afford the $34,572.50 a month. How are we going to afford $188,244.17 a month? So that's the things when they keep saying we need, and the mayor knows this information. So when he asks us for additional money, I'm not in a position that I want to do anything additional at this time, because we're going to have to find a way to pay this. And that's why I said we're teetering on the brink of bankruptcy, because we're going to have to do something to make sure that we're able to make these payments. And those payments are from 2023 through 2029, so that's 6 years of $2 million payments. I mean, we got a $17 million budget, and we got $2 million off the top going to something. Those are things that we need to be exploring right now to put in place. So that brings me to my next point. We have our lodging tax that we're currently giving to the YMCA. I don't.
It in February.
Okay.
That's
It is a
February the 19th.
But what I'm gonna do, I know we're gonna talk about it at the finance committee meeting, but I'm gonna send a memo down to the finance office to go ahead and start the payment. Until Father, if we vote on to move forward, and continue the payment. But I think the assumption of the council is that we're gonna move forward with, with that contract, just discontinue the contract.
okay. And so, my next item is lodging tax. So because it ended in February, and they're going to actually, should have gotten a check, or will be getting a check for, February in the month of March, but they should not, as of March 1, receive any additional funds. And when the mayor does, the president does, that should cut that off. I would like to, ask the council to look at, it was $141,988.50 that we received total last year for the surcharge of the lodging tax. I would like to ask you all to assist us in 2023. I'm believing, hoping, praying that we're going to be able to make the payments prior to that time, prior to the $2 million, believing that we're going to be able to make the $600,000 payments. But I'm asking that we earmark all of that to go toward the bond pension payment, in hopes that we would have, if we did $140,000 over the next 3 years, that we'll have some money to start off with, because we're gonna have to figure out how to pay it. And so this is just a start. It doesn't have to be. This is something we can take up into committee, but that's a suggestion. Which brings me to my next point. If you all read what Ms. Cheryl sent to us, she sent us on March 4th, I think it is, 5th, a law that's being considered SB 23 by Senator Elliott to remove the police jurisdiction. So if we remove the police jurisdiction, I asked the president and the mayor in the office, and Ms. Oliver and the president both had an opportunity to send me this information for the revenue that was gross during fiscal year 2018 in the police jurisdiction. That was $644,633.01. So we're going to be potentially losing that if this passes. So that's additional revenue that we decrease. So when they're asking for us to pay a $100,000 payment here and a $100,000 payment here, I wish they were here to see some of the decreases in revenue that we're going to be receiving, but continued increases in expenditures that we're going to incur in the next several years. So if this passes, now that I hope we're going to be looking at options of maybe, annexing, things of that sort. We may choose not to, because I believe that we need to look at the calls and services. If it took us in manpower, and we can get some data, if it took us in manpower $800,000 to service the police jurisdiction, then this is something we don't want to do. Or we may want to annex, because if it takes us $800,000 and we're getting the whole tax and not just half of the tax, then it puts us over. But we want to wait and see if this is going to be beneficial for us to take that on. But we need to start exploring that just in case this comes about. Which brings me to my next item. I told the president that I had about 6 or 7 items. I'm thanking you all for the liberty, which is the Senate Bill 19, which calls for the removal of a lodging tax. during space, in places or spaces where they rent campgrounds or RV or marine slips, and we're talking about getting a marine slip, which is gonna be in the city. So they're taking that lodging fee off, which will be an additional cost that we will not make. So we're losing funding. These laws or these bills, I'm sorry, they're not laws until they're actually passed. These bills are proposals. They haven't passed as of yet, but they have the potential to decrease our revenues severely. And so we need to look at those things before we choose in the month of March to incur additional expenses. I think we need to make sure on my sticky note that I've gone over all my items. Police jurisdiction, liberty contract, lodging tax. AP check dates. Let me go over that. When speaking with the finance department, they made me aware that AP check dates by practice has been the 15th and the 30th. We got an opportunity to talk about when the mayor actually requested his funds. If you all recall last year sometime, he requested funds, and the check was printed immediately that day. And so we got into that conversation, why does that happen? And what they said is they've done it so often that they're not following through on the practices or procedures that they have in place. So I want to ask you all as a council that we vote to have AP checks only done on the 15th and 30th. So no one can come to the finance office and demand at any point to have a check printed right there at that moment. You know, working with other agencies, they don't handle checks that way. And I spoke with Councilwoman Benjamin, and she said the practice that they've always known was that you had to have it in by the 12th. I think at noon or 11 o'clock.
3 days before.
3 days before, and because they were gonna print it out on the 15th and again on the 27th for the 30th. And so I think we need to make sure that we put that practice in place and that we don't bend the rules, stretch the rule, break the rule for anybody, including the mayor or council members, because that puts them in a difficult position. If they did it once, then they'll do it again. But if it's procedure, it's the law, then it can state, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Councilwoman Jackson, we're not trying to be rude or anything, but we absolutely cannot do this. And so those are my items for tonight. I would love to address those: police jurisdiction, the lodging tax, and actually our contract with Liberty in the financial committee meeting. But I would ask that we maybe look at voting on the AP check dates on tomorrow. And please, 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 guys, as we're thinking tomorrow, if you need me to share, because I know we have quite a few council members that are out tomorrow. If we're going to vote to do $40,000 more a month, or whatever it is for the fleet, and $100,000.
No, we're not.
Ain't
That's gonna go through the
We ain't got
finance
no-
committee meeting on Monday, and
We ain't got
also
no-
with the
we
AP
ain't
on
got
the 15th and
nothing.
30th, that's just reaffirmed. It's already in place.
It's supposed to be in place,
Yeah.
but that's how they were able to get a check that day, because it's been broken. And they don't do it because no one adheres to it because it's been broken so
Would it
many
be better
times.
I just send a memo to the effect that's reaffirming that, Mrs. Sullivan? Okay,
With that, or
would that be suffice?
you may want to do a legally convened meeting, a vote, you know how we get.
We'll just
the
do it
mayor's
just,
office.
we'll just do it just to reaffirm it.
Right, just reaffirm it.
That's already.
The lodging tax, what lodging tax are you saying? Are you talking about a tax that we don't even have right now?
The $2.
$2.
We should start getting.
Are you saying they're talking about removing that?
No. It's on RVs, campgrounds, it's a bill that
Yeah.
lodging tax and returns to collect
Uh-huh.
as not as part of our surcharge, but just a
Okay.
part of. I think it may impact the county, but we do have a marine.
I was trying to figure out where in the city that we have
Where
this
we
and
have,
where it would affect
you know,
us.
we're community development, we're
Uh-huh.
trying to do that, slip boat.
Trying to do.
Trying to do that, but we also have a marina here.
Yeah.
And so we just want to make sure that we're not losing revenues anywhere. But I think with the campgrounds, it's mostly going to be, the county that's impacted, but we just need to look at it.
So that's something that we don't have, and the numbers that you were reading out for the 2023,
Yes, ma'am.
Two something that's gonna be due. We pay almost two something now, don't we?
No, ma'am.
1.5?
No, ma'am.
Jasmine's talking about a warrant.
Uh-huh.
That's a warrant.
And she's reading that from Brandon Comar's report?
No.
Did that come from the Comar's report? I mean,
No.
That's coming from, directly from the finance office.
That's the amortization schedule.
and that's the schedule he gave when he came, when he redid it, that's coming from
Yes,
Brandon Comar.
yes.
Okay.
That's what I have. That's what I go by to make.
Now, that was done. I want to make sure so I can look up all these numbers and I can see.
I can give you.
I have to have a visual because even with the, even with this budget thing, it's still looming over me. And this is the last one you received, but I don't think it's the last one someone else received. And we have to make sure that you all are getting what everybody else is getting, so that we can be on the same page and speaking the same language. And, but I'll find that out, because I whispered over to ask him as soon as it was said, and he was remembering the same number I was remembering. That's when I asked to see the budget that you were looking at. And so, I'll search my email or whatever, because I just don't remember 3 point anything, like 3 point nothing. And, it's looming over me. So that was the lodging check. And the police jurisdiction, you said is up for this session, or
Yes, ma'am.
just being discussed
on
on
March 5th.
Okay. Okay, and, so that's something we need to talk to our representatives about.
Yes.
We know that, Chestnut is doing a phenomenal job. Some of this stuff can be, we can get out in front of it when we're discussing it, and that's one of the things we need to get out in front of. I've talked about the 4 corridors. We need to move on the 4 corridors, like, period. Before somebody else does. Before the neighboring folks does. And so, I can't say that any more than I've said it. I passed it out. I passed out the rules on how to do it, the rules on how to annex and all. I did the research and I passed out the research. I spoke with Senator Sanders because he was the senator in office. I did all that, and I explained all that. So it's just up to the council now.
Go ahead.
One last item, I will tell you all, and some of you all spoke to me, right after the meeting. I did get an opportunity to meet with the mayor. As I stated earlier, it was very contentious, but it ended up producing great fruit. But it took a minute. And thank you to Councilwoman Benjamin and Councilwoman Thomas, who was very supporting and praying for me, because I needed a whole lot of prayer. But one of the things that I asked, and which probably made it so contentious, is, are you continuing to pay defunded positions? And he stated yes, and he will continue to pay defunded positions because we don't have the authority to do that. So I would ask that we please move forward in determining what we're going to do. Either we're going to repeal this vote and make it retroactive, that he can pay these individuals through October, or we're going to hold his feet to the fire and we're going to get an attorney to say,
He's already looking into it.
we got to do one of the two, but he can't do both.
And
I think I talked to him on Friday, and he's looking into that. Also, he's spoken with the league.
And I want to add to that concerning anything that we have abolished and defund. I don't talk to those people, all right? I don't ask them to do anything for me. In the meeting tonight, it did not concern me. Because I was looking for the person I knew was supposed to be in the position. I don't talk to those people because the minute that we as a council talk to those people and ask them to do work for us, it's almost like you have said it is okay to work in this position. So when somebody tells me that department head is present or whatever, that doesn't matter to me. I don't talk to what we defunded and what we abolished. I don't talk to those people because we have said and made a vote that is non-existent. And the moment that we do, when we start doing that, we have effectively said, it's okay for you to work there because I just asked you to do some work for me.
Right, and Councilwoman Benjamin, you know that you were one of the individuals that called me and said, why did you go in that meeting alone?
Yes.
And I told you, I went in there with 10 legions of angels and I need them. I don't, and this is not personal for me. It was asserted that I'm attacking individuals. I'm not, my goal here is to make sure that we as a council do the right thing in the right manner for the right reason. And we stated that we're going to defund these positions in the council, in the budget for budgetary reasons. And so it is only my job or my desire to ensure as a part of financial accountability that we're doing what we say we're going to do. And so I've spoken to other council members and I don't address anyone and I don't ask. And I've said to other council members, you are putting us in a very precarious situation when you say, I called on them and they moved. And we can't do that because that's just like telling my daughter, you can't have ice cream, watch her eat it and say, do nothing. If I say you can't have ice cream, I mean you can't have ice cream. There are going to be consequences if you go in there and get the ice cream. And so it doesn't matter to me. We as a council made that decision. And we as a council can have another vote to repeal it. I won't vote in that way. But we can have another vote. However, if we don't, it's important. Like the president has already stated that he's spoken to someone, we got to put that in place and we got to have it back. I was going through cleaning up my home on yesterday and spring cleaning, mopping floors and everything. And what did I come across? The letter from the attorney talking about the integrity of the council. And they had copies of paychecks. And so we're going to have integrity. All we want to do our job, this is not personal.
That's right.
This is about the finances, and that's why it wasn't personal. I expressed to the chief of police that I appreciate his passion, but I didn't feel that this was the time to come before the council and ask for that type of funding when we know we're about to go through another season, because we did it last year. We did it. It's an emergency. We got to do. We can't do anything. We won't make it, and we moved. And he stated during that time that he had the funding, that he had the funding, that the funding was available, he made it available. And maybe he thought that we were going to pass these taxes that he presented to us, and that maybe that was the funding, but it was not available. And we had to make it alone. So that's my speech for tonight.
It's always surprising when you don't pass.
Yeah, I've been listening at you, Councilwoman, talking about the different finance and stuff like that. But many cities in Alabama, the council is over finance. So I feel the mayor shouldn't approve no checks to be written without those checks coming through us in the town of Thomasville. They meet twice a month. All the checks that you got to spend, unless it's an emergency, they go through the president of the council, and that person let everybody know that some emergency situation happened. But what I'm saying is, it's important that we as council people control the finance. Because a lot of checks that might be written down, we don't know nothing about. And I got a problem with, I'm looking down the ledger and I see amounts that I know didn't come before the council, some over $5,000. Because what they're gonna do when it comes for election time, whatever, they're gonna say, oh, the council mismanaged money. Oh, the council just spending, wasting money. But it ain't us. They're doing this. So, I hope that we as a council will, say, hey, man, we'll need you to sign off on nothing else. You got rid of our finance director. We're gonna sign off on all expenditures, checks got to come through the council. We vote on it. And I would get with the city of Thomasville, Alabama, so I get exact how they does it. But I know all the finance expenditures come through the council.
And actually we voted on that. It's October 23rd meeting. We voted that nothing is to be spent. So when I hear council members saying over $5,000, I do this number right here, because actually we said nothing. Everything is supposed to come before the council, and that's why we started with purchase orders. You see that, you weren't here yet when he brought the $137,000 and said, I wanna see the purchase orders. Because you can tell me that they're public works and public safety, but what do you consider public works? The cameras that are going all over the building or all throughout the community? So I want to know, is it public works, when you put new doors, security features inside of City Hall that we really don't need? Is that public safety? And so I don't know. I would like to make those decisions, and that's why I said purchase orders, because the purchase orders come before checks are even printed. So when checks are printed, we waste it if we gotta go back and board them, and we got a lot of general entry things that we need to do. If we see the purchase order before they ever get approved, what we decided, we didn't bring before the council tonight, but what was decided in that meeting, and by the way, he did apologize. After about an hour and a half of other things, he apologized when I said, it was in the October 23rd meeting minutes. And he went and read them and said, I never knew. No one ever told me. And I said, well, not only were you aware, Mr. Mayor, because I spoke with the clerk and she said she'd give you a copy of these meeting minutes every time that we get a copy. Also, Ms. Sykes stated that she provided you with a memo from our president. And so, unless both of them are incorrect and you are aware of what's going on. But I stated to him, I asked the ladies in finance without giving them any directives, because I was accused several times of giving directives, but I asked information. How does the process work? And can we do this? Would this be a problem? And what we agreed on to bring it back before the council was that the department head or council member or the mayor, whoever is looking to get something, purchase something, would take it before Ms. Oliver. She would make sure that it's within the line item and within the budget. Not that the funds are in the bank, but within the line item, within the budget, she would sign off on it. It goes to the mayor, he signs off on it. When it comes to the clerk, before she gives it a purchase order number, it comes before the council. And all the council members, we get the opportunity to say, oh, okay, what is this for? Oh, this is for a new vehicle. When do we purchase a new vehicle? We get to ask those type of questions of why are we putting a new camera or building repairs? What building is being repaired for $5,500? And so we can ask those type of questions before signing off on it. And if we want to say, not at this time, we'll have the liberty. But if they've already allowed them, if we don't pass the purchase order and they've given them a purchase order number and now we're in the check process, they've already done the work at the point we're doing the check. And so I think it should start at the purchase order process. But I'm in total agreement with what you just stated.
But and again, you made a statement that some of the ladies is feeling like we don't trust them and all that. But I mean, I know for a fact somebody wrote some checks down there. They knew they shouldn't have been made. I know for a fact, everybody up here know that. So how could you trust somebody that you know don't wrote some checks or paid this for a bill that should have came before the council?
Well, let me say to you this. And that's where they're saying, that's why I say they're in a precarious situation. And so that's why I want us to take their feelings. I thought just like you, like they should know that a memo was sent down to their office, but they got a boss and he's giving them directives. And the directives are, and so that's why we have to make sure that we do things in a legally convenient manner and in a manner that is appropriate. And then let our attorney fight that battle for us, that we don't put them in a situation that we're accusing them of doing something because they're following orders. And if they have two, essentially what they feel like is we have two bosses. We got the one right here that's saying do this, we got the one here that's saying do that, and that's the precarious situation. And they want, they've been with us and they want to build their trust. And I told them it wasn't, I apologize on behalf of the council because we don't want to put them in that situation. We hate that they're in that situation because of our confusion between the legislative body and the executive body. It's our confusion that is causing them to be confused. And so when I asked them about the October 23rd meeting minutes, they weren't aware of it, because if you recall, when he was giving it, he took it back. So if he's not aware of it, if he doesn't read it, or he doesn't let them follow through on getting their memos, then how are they supposed to know? And then if he tells them directly, you are to listen to me, it's just a very precarious situation. It's not that they want to choose one over the other. They're just in a difficult situation, and that's why we need to, because of course the checks have been written for the defunded position, and they were there when I asked about those checks, and they were, they heard them.
So, that's my point. They know they write checks for defund position, and they continue to write it. So why they say we don't trust them when we see what they're doing?
They know what it is.
Right, I understand from our point of view. I just want you to get their point of view. I understand that, that you feel like that they should say, I'm not writing, I know it's wrong, the council has made a decision.
They're defunding position, you shouldn't be writing that check.
And we got a budget.
And they are also thinking about, he's my direct supervisor. If I don't do this, I'm going to have these consequences, I'm going to be done. And so, and get them out of their position by going to our counselor and making sure that they file things in an appropriate way. Because right now, they're in their position. And I saw their faces, I seen their eyes, I saw their eyes, and I could see the frustration. And what I'm trying to do is convey to you their heart and just how difficult it is for them. But until I looked them in the eyes and talked to them, and they were able to express themselves with the mayor in the room and without him being in the room, I just didn't understand. This is hard for them. This is very hard.
I'm glad you apologize on behalf of
all of us.
All of us.
We're one body.
Cause I don't go down the line.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Get my business together, that's all.
I know the situation that they're in, but see, the mayor put them in that situation. He shouldn't be going down there dealing with finance, because he out of his league when he trying to deal with finance. And we sit up here and don't do nothing about him going and dealing with finance directly. That's why he got rid of his way, so he can do that. That's the only reason he got rid of her. You can say she on the indictment and blah blah blah. The attorney general ain't looking at nothing. Y'all got the letter from the attorney. Did y'all get the letter from the attorney general?
I did.
About the investigation?
When?
Okay. We're gonna have to find, cause it's still something.
I know there's no.
It's no
I didn't
investigation.
get a letter, but I know ain't nothing going on.
Cause I'm telling you, it's no they not doing investigating her on nothing. And so long as she's sitting out here, I don't think they're gonna do is say, like I said, the council mismanaged money. They just spending money doing this. They gonna blame us.
I don't doubt that. And
They
that's
gonna
why
blame
I
us. It's wrong for us to sit there and let them put us in this trap. It's a trap they putting us in.
Actually, I've been fighting for this since October the 23rd. The first time I brought it up was August 28th, and we voted on it on October the 23rd, and I haven't been able to get anything. And so I'm the one that's continuing to say, hey, we need it, and beating this dead horse and feeling like I'm just speaking to the wall, because I feel like it's so important. And so if I wish that it could have been at the meeting tomorrow, that we could have voted on the purchase orders. But if it can't be at the meeting tomorrow, we can just do it after the finance committee meeting. I just want us to do it. We need to get it in place. We need to see these purchase orders coming before the council. We need to see everything that's going out of here, because that's exactly what they want to do. And I can't say it. I can say that they stated that they have purchase order reports that they're holding for $137,000, $492.43. I can say that, but I can't tell you not one thing is for it. I can't tell you if it's for a piece of bubble gum or it's for somebody new Mercedes. I can't tell you anything. I can't tell you it's spending correctly or it's erroneous spending. I can't tell you anything because all they gave me was numbers. And that's why I wanted this information.
Councilwoman, then.
What we need to get them out of this situation, we talked about a lot of things to get them out of this situation. What we need to get them out of the situation is our treasurer. We had a treasurer who understood what her job was, and her job was to make sure that the finances are protected in a way that if someone came to her and said a thing, and she knew it was a thing not to do, she didn't do it.
That's right.
That's why she's in a predicament now, and we're not fighting to bring her back. But that's the thing that's going to bring the staff down there out of the precarious situation that they're in.
But we've already...
Is a competent treasurer who's not there. And we need to get with the attorney to see where we are on that piece, where we are on that piece right there.
He filed the
He filed
injunction.
it.
He filed the injunction.
I know he filed the injunction.
You need to move.
I saw the email. I saw all that. We need to stay on all our attorneys, as a matter of fact. That's another thing. But we need to stay on that piece right there. We had a case that we won that had a 43-day appeal process.
Yep.
How many days has it been now?
Almost
Waiting on those days to
February
run. Waiting on those days to run out so that we can make our next move that we're supposed to be making. But the thing to bring them out of that situation is a treasurer appointed by the council.
That's right.
Who understands that if Angela comes and says, cut me a check for $600 without documentation, you don't do it.
Councilwoman Thompson will move on.
And, just like, Councilman Benjamin said, it is true. Here we are in 2019 into the month of March, and we have not, our finance, the city. We gotta do better. 'Cause he just gave us a purchase order, but who's to say? We never seen what all these, purchase orders are. It's never been brought before. He's just saying it's a bill. Have we seen a copy of the bill, all this, repair, he's saying? And then he asked us for 40,000? Want us to.
Money for the chief bill.
Yeah, the chief. And he told us that they telling us this come from just the police cars this year. So we as leaders, we need to, first of all, we need to find a way to get our workers back and get our treasurer in here so she can bring our city back to normal.
Okay, all right. Councilwoman regular turnaround, attorney's turnaround, entertainment district.
Okay. So Woody contacted me. What's it bad? I shouldn't be
Jones.
saying. I shouldn't be saying
Attorney
Woody.
Jones.
Attorney Jones contacted me. I guess he got the agenda, and so I'm going to stop by his office to talk with him concerning something that I wanted, something that I had already did the research on. So I didn't need the research done on it. I just need the paperwork. I'm going to go by his office and talk to him. Perhaps I can talk to him before tomorrow's meeting. And then, so we have the entertainment district, right? Mm-hmm. The entertainment district goes from Ross 5 to the Old Depot Museum. And we have people who have a problem with with entertainment going on in the entertainment district. One of the reasons we have that district on the edge of town is things were going on in neighborhoods, and we were trying to push all entertainment down to the entertainment district, right? Stop putting all this in neighborhoods and push it down to the entertainment district. And so I got phone calls concerning the article. I don't get the paper, and I said screenshot it to me concerning the article. That we're not business friendly, we don't create an atmosphere where people can have entertainment in the entertainment district, and all that stuff. A lot of this stuff sometimes comes every year after the Jubilee, and I understand that. But the Jubilee wasn't the first group that we gave the amphitheater to. We gave the amphitheater first to the Black Belt Benefit Group. We gave that to them first. And then I think we waived it for Morgan Academy or reduced it or something like that. So Jubilee wasn't the first entity that we gave the amphitheater, the usage of the amphitheater to. But I got these phone calls that kept saying, why y'all not business friendly, entertainment friendly? We're just as entertainment friendly as a council can be. I'd rather for organizations to put on entertainment than us to put on entertainment. Those of us who create entertainment space, it's because quality of life is important. When I'm booking a hotel in another city, and I travel outside the council, by the way. When I'm booking a hotel in another city, I look for several things in that city. One of the things I look for is nightlife. One of the things I look for is entertainment. And we lose a lot to Montgomery and Prattville and those surrounding areas because once it pulls up, it tells you what's in the surrounding areas. So there's a concert going on in the amphitheater in Montgomery, and there's this outdoor movie thing going on in Prattville and all this. Well, I can book in Prattville and just drive to Selma for whatever Selma got for 3 or 4 days going on. I just drive back and forth to Selma because the entertainment, they have other stuff that I want. So it's the reason we have an entertainment district. And y'all help go out and spread that. We've done this for different organizations. We've done it for other organizations who are acting like they've never had it before. But the entertainment district itself was created, and our thought process was that there's a lot going on in these neighborhoods and things are happening. If you concentrated in one area, then the police have a district to watch. They have an entertainment district to watch rather than all these little pop-up things in neighborhoods and all that. They now have a district. So you got this, you need to put it down in the district. You need to just go to the district and have it down in the district. So that's one of the reasons we have it. So I don't want those type of phone calls when a council member or council members go out into the city and tell citizens that we're not business friendly. When a council member goes out and tells citizens, we've done this for one group and not the other group. No, we did it for your group first. So I don't want to hear somebody calling me about another council member saying something like that is not true. We're very business friendly. In fact, we've been lenient on a lot of businesses that some of us are connected to for some reason. We're real friendly. We're really lenient. Almost like things are being overlooked. I really want a copy of that list. Please email it to me. I really do want a copy of that list. But y'all, let's be more friendlier when we're selling Selma, Alabama. Let's be more friendlier to ourselves. I'm saying we can't be ambassadors and talking negative about our city to other people and sending them to Montgomery and Prattville. Why would we do that? Why would we send people to Montgomery and Prattville?
We're going there.
No, that's not what I'm saying. So you missed everything I'm saying. So we need not send them there. With our attitude and our environment, what we say out of our mouths, we send them there. What we create in our town concerning entertainment, we send them there. We send them there. And so I wanted to say that, and I also wanted to speak on council members having public events and public business. Who else are we gonna pay? I mean, where else are we gonna have public events we're gonna have in public buildings? I didn't understand that part either. But this comes from a council member. I didn't understand that part. Where else are we gonna have them? Where else is the youth conference gonna be? Where else is the public safety meeting gonna be? I mean, I'm not paying somebody else for their buildings. I'm not going to the school board and say, let me use school discovery for a public safety meeting. Sure. When we have buildings that we don't even rent out, we're still not renting out, and I'm wondering why the contract ain't been changed yet so we can go ahead and rent them out.
They saying they booked.
One little line removed from the contract would do it.
They trying to say, ever since 2018, everything been booked up, coming for this
Mr. President,
2019.
can you make sure the contract, the new contract,
They provide
is here,
it.
it's on the
We got it
table?
now.
I have,
Oh, good, I'm sorry.
well, basically, I do have a copy of the contract, I put it included in your
Gonna be
package.
called.
Councilwoman Thomas, are you just gonna, I'm
You
a
put that in committee.
I'm a relegate it to your committee, and by the next
Council.
council meeting, we can come back with a
Yeah, 'cause we
recommendation.
have a meeting.
So we can rent these buildings, please?
And we are meeting on this month,
Okay.
our next meeting.
I'm just saying, so we can rent these buildings?
Yeah, that's what we trying to do.
Again, we're missing some more business, all these proms coming up and all these graduations and.
Folks getting, trying to get
Yeah.
married.
Mm-hmm.
Just
They
bring
can't
some, in your committee report tomorrow, just,
And can I ask you too, Mr. President?
Yes,
You know, they ask about, some people don't use the amphitheater for to get married on the ground.
oh, we did, it's in there.
We got it in there?
Yes,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, I talked with, Attorney Jones about that, he included it in here also.
Okay, 'cause the people want to get married.
All
Will
right.
they be able to get married?
She claimed everything booked up.
Also, too, I included in your package a invoice from our attorney. We definitely need to go ahead and vote to move forward to pay that from tomorrow.
City
And-
attorney?
We got to pay the city attorney?
No,
Our.
our attorney.
Oh, our.
He done, we owe him this much?
Yes, on the back, yeah.
That's nothing.
How,
I believe it.
what's that?
Can you see the total?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, back.
On the back,
5,850.
For what he's done so far?
yes. Okay. Also, my last business item is the amended ordinance for revenue stream. Council members, you're gonna be surprised when you look at the, email I'm gonna forward to you with the delinquent, business license. In that amount alone, I know the mayor said tonight that, we may have to amend the budget, but it is appalling that you would let so many businesses go by after January 31st with a business license. From time to time, I go out and do routine audits, and we still have several businesses around here with a 2016 business license. So we have to do our due diligence and plug the hole before we go out there and ask the citizens for additional funds. One thing, we have several ordinances on the book that we're going to have to amend. One being the vendors ordinance, we're just doing $50, but I think we need to move that up to $100 to $125. Then when you're looking at the barber shops, in the past, we only just require one license for the whole barber shop. But in my opinion, each barber should have a license.
They're entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs. So there are some things that we definitely need to look at. Also with the car washes and other venues that we definitely need to look at our ordinances and revise and revamp to move forward to see can we generate another additional revenue stream. And currently, I'm not gonna mention it right now, but I have Representative Chestnut and Senator Sanders looking at 48, excuse me. 48, looking at a measurement to see can we generate some additional funds. I'm gonna let them look into it first before I bring it before the council. And currently, we're looking at the sin tax. It's something that we can also look at as a council, because with the sin tax, that's involuntary, something that you don't have to engage in. But tomorrow night, hopefully we'll make it short. We're looking at roughly about 2 or 3 items on the consent agenda. I would email you first thing in the morning. And if there's any problem that you have with the consent item, please notify me.
But will everything else be removed? Because I think we should just vote on consent. We've discussed it, most of this
That's
for the
right.
financial committee meeting. Or
That's
Yeah, the
it.
new
That's
agenda
it.
has
That's
been
it.
removed.
Yeah, I just removed, we're trying to go into more committee work, and I'm tired of playing secretary.
Bring Ms. Sykes back.
How are we going to really just buckle down and try to, we count the months. Look how long these people out here.
But one thing about it too, we definitely need to look, inquire about something, because when you deal with the labor laws, it's a point in time when you can just lay your employees off. I don't know what that timeline is. I want to say 190 to 120 days, somewhere along that area, because if you go past that time, we're going to end up paying them their back pay, retirement, and
All that
everything.
stuff.
So we need to go ahead and find out when's that timeline.
Could you also find out, because I just thought I read this in passing, in the Alabama Code somewhere. Could you find out, when you have a group of people who are laid off, a massive group of people who are laid off, when you start hiring or bring on new people, and put it in those same positions,
You can't do that.
aren't you supposed to pull from the laid off
First of all, you have to get
list?
You have to get the laid off list.
Laid off first.
They have to have an opportunity at that particular
That's what I thought I
before
read.
anyone else can come in.
You gotta bring them back before you bring a new person in.
Oh, well, you have to give them an opportunity
If
if
they
they would
want.
like to, if they would like to.
Yeah, can we get the specific wording on that, so that we can, make sure?
But my concern is, council member, this is my concern. If we get to that point where that laid off time period,
It's gonna burn them out.
if it has gone past that time, with them 6 days employed, we're gonna pay them their vacation time and
Absolutely.
everything, because they're no longer gonna be employed. But at the current time, it's a catch-22 where it's a potential of them coming back. That's why they can basically hold back the vacation time. But after that time period, you have to give them full benefits.
Well, can you find out, can our attorney be telling us what is our next move, if we need our treasurer to run the city? Cause the city just running itself, spending money.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.